Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV as the transfer window will open again this week. Obviously, slightly different this season due to the FIFA World Club Cup. So it was open, then it's shut. It's due to open again, I believe, on Wednesday. I might be wrong. Someone might tell me it's Tuesday, but I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. Somebody in the chat. Normally, my man Ash is in the chat. Someone like Daniel Harris, they'll give me the answers. But it's all happening, isn't it? It's all happening. Managers are moving. Players are moving. There's a FIFA World Club Cup going on. By the way, I'm going to have my first live World Club Cup game watch along tonight. 7:45 p.m. We're going to watch Chelsea versus Los Angeles FC. Should be interesting. People like Liam Delap probably getting his debut. We've got Hugo Lloris, ex-Spurs goalkeeper, will surely be in goal for Los Angeles FC. You've got Giroud. If that's your type of thing, you've got Giroud, who's probably going to be up front for Los Angeles as well. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in this Club World Cup. And we all love football. So join me tonight at 7:45. At 5 p.m., we've got a fan call-in show. As always, for all the lovers, the haters, the YouTubers, and the YouTube viewers, it's open to all. Have your say. And then obviously we've got this show right now. Let's talk about this morning. There's been some quotes going around from Diego Simeone at Atletico saying, well, why wouldn't I want Christian Romero? Why wouldn't I want Romero? All right, we'll see. We'll see. Also, Son and Bissouma wanted by Jose Mourinho, amongst others. Understand as well that Everton are looking at Bissouma. However, I did see that Everton are after... who was it? I saw that they were after somebody else. Somebody else. Oh, is it today? I'm sorry. Is it today? Well, there you go. It's open. If it's open, it's open. Is that definitely true? Is that definitely true? When does the transfer window open? It's open. Tarek, thank you very much. You are 100% spot on. I don't know why I had Wednesday in mind. You know why? Because Wednesday is the other thing. Wednesday is the fixture list. The fixtures come out, don't they, on Wednesday? Sorry. Thank you, Tarek. Yes, the fixtures do. And there we go. Look, who's this? Who's this? Oh, hang on. Who's this? Santander. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Why they need to message me and tell me things like that. Yes. Good morning. Hot God 10 says, good morning, Savva, from a sunny Bexley Heath. Oh, just down there. Just 10 minutes that way for me. Hot God 10. Actually, you might not want to say live. Whereabouts in the Bexley Heath are you? Are you High Street end? Are you like bowling alley end? Are you more Welling end, near Welling's ground end, the Toby Carvery? Whereabouts are you? Obviously, don't give me a postcode or a street name, but where are you? So listen, we could be seeing some movement. Let's hope that we're going to see some movement. We do know that Thomas Frank is on holiday at the moment. We do know that he is on holiday. But let's be fair, transfers should not be happening. That's a double negative. Transfers should still be happening, even with a manager on holiday. That's what these are for. That's what these are for. Cheeky little mobile phone. So let's see what the club are going to do. I wouldn't expect anything too soon. I've got a sneaky little feeling that we're probably going to see some movement towards the beginning of July, maybe when Fabio Paratici comes in. If Fabio Paratici comes in, it's all up in the air, isn't it? It's all a bit crazy, but it's been a whirlwind. It's been a whirlwind 2 weeks at Spurs, hasn't it? Since Daniel Levy came back from holiday, since Vinay started officially. It's all change. Out with the old manager, in with the new manager. Out with the old coaching staff, in with the new coaching staff. Out with Donna Cullen. Ryan Mason's gone. We've had players leave on free transfers. We have had Scott Munn, as far as I'm aware, has left the building as well. So it's all change. But some are saying there's no change because the signing of Matisse Tell has underwhelmed many. But I think we knew it was coming, right? I think we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming, so I don't think we can be too disappointed by it. But we now see, what do we do to go from here to there? And that's always the question mark I've had with Daniel Levy. Always. It's why I don't like him. There's many things he does well, but the big question has always got to be, all right, we're there, Daniel. We're there. How do we get to there? To there, to there. We never seem to want to make those jumps, do we? However, lots of reports, just reports, you never know, saying that Spurs are going to go big this summer. Other reports saying, how can Spurs go big? They don't have cash flow. Fans saying, we don't care. Make it happen. Absolutely, make it happen. Chuck some money in, Enoch. Joe Lewis, get your wallet out, mate. You've got about, I don't know, what's he worth? 6-7 billion? I have no idea. Get your wallet out. Get your wallet out, sunshine. Let's get in some of these players. You got fans that are very happy with Thomas Frank. Fans that are very unhappy with Thomas Frank. Fans that are happy with Paratici possibly returning. Others saying, well, why is he returning? Some fans love Levy. Other fans hate Levy. Some fans don't care about Levy. Some people rate Lang. Look what he did with Bergvall. Oh, but look what he did with Gray. And it's never a dull day at Tottenham Hotspur, is it? It's never a dull day. And in a minute, I want to talk about Son and Bissouma. Then we'll talk about Simeone. And then, obviously, the Brian Mbeumo news. The Brian Mbeumo news that got everyone very happy, probably just under a week ago. Well, gee, it was probably more Thursday, wasn't it? Lots of people saying that Brian Mbeumo, that deal to Man United was going to be hijacked by Tottenham Hotspur. It's gone very quiet on that. He then gave a short interview yesterday whilst he was at the Montreal Grand Prix. Formula One's not my thing. Maybe the Montreal Grand Prix. Somebody will put me wrong. Toronto, Montreal, somewhere, I believe in Canada. And he didn't really give a lot away, did he? Didn't really give a lot away about anything. Obviously, people are reading into it one way or the other. But as things stand, Brian Mbeumo is still a Brentford footballer. So we will see. Let's say hello to a few people. And good morning to you all, as always. And as always, what is going on with the likes? Come on, people. There's nearly 300 of you in here already. We're only 10 minutes old, the show. Nearly 300 in here. And only 48 likes. Come on. I mean, this is now par for the course, isn't it? Let's just assume that you're parked in a car park and you know you've got to have a ticket on your car. Let's just assume. Let's do that. Breaking news this morning, as we know that Diego Coppola has signed for Brighton, £10 million for the highly rated centre-half, 10 million euros, if we're going to be brutally honest. So let's see, is this going to be another one that Brighton turn into gold? He's completed his medical and signed his contract. Official statement to follow soon. Lots of people rave about this guy. I don't know too much about him. I've probably seen him in passing, but let's see how that ends up. Fabrizio Romano talking about Mike Maignan saying, look, Robert Sanchez is my number one, and then Jorgensen is my number two. He also said that Mike Penders has joined the club. I'm guessing is a young goalkeeper. And then he said, then we'll make a final decision. But I would be surprised if Chelsea don't go back in for Maignan when the World Club Cup has finished. Good morning to the Aussie Frank lover. Big up to you, my man. Hope you're well. Coming again and said, I hope we don't have another bad window. Tell isn't a good start, but we know it was already happening. Yeah, I think Lubo was right on this one. We push Danso and Tell to the side. Now, what's our window going to be? We knew those signings were happening. Now, that doesn't mean no one can be upset about the signings. You all know. Listen, I've got no problem with Danso. Everyone knows I didn't want Tell. He's here now, though. Not a lot I can do, but I didn't want Tell. Maybe I'll be absolutely put in the mud. Fine, put me in the mud. Great. The way I see it is this. If I'm put in the mud for my prediction of Tell, then it means that Spurs are doing well or Matisse Tell is doing well. Either way, as a fan, I get to win. Big up to Real Madrid in the chat. Real Madrid. Sorry. Then big up Savva. No more sentiment. Completely agree. I don't want any more sentiment. No more sentiment. Good morning to Shem Tan. How you doing? The Savaloy Army. Good morning to Kate. Good morning to the Aussie Frank Lover. Sticking in the super sticker. Maybe we're going to start a super sticker train. Big up to you. Thank you so much. And if that wasn't kind enough, you've also gifted a Football Heritage TV membership. Let's see who got that. That was given to Jack Spurs. So big up to you. Thank you so much for that, Aussie Frank Lover. Really do appreciate you for that. That's very, very generous indeed. Big up to Dean Law. Big up to the Spoon Dangler. Daniel Harris was here, or is here. So the window is already playing out how he said it would. If we don't sign an Eze or Mbeumo, this season is already over. Well, listen, it's the 16th of June. A window opens today. Let's try and I'm going to try and be glass half full about it. You know my opinion on Tell. You know my opinion on that. Now, up to Spurs. Go and do something. Shock us. Do I believe it will happen? Probably not. Do I have to have that 5% in me which says Spurs are going to act big? I've got to have it in me. But as the window goes on, we'll see how much that 5% grows to 15, 20%, or whether it goes to 0%. We will see. Good morning to Robson Frank. How you doing? Said selling both Son and Bissouma will be good to generate funds. We'll talk about that in just a second. Completely agree with you. No more sentiment from me. There's no one in our squad that if I was sold tomorrow, I'd lose sleep over. I think generate funds. Let's go. Let's get new players in. Let's get new blood. Let's have something to be excited about. Not being horrible. I'm just getting a bit bored of seeing Son play now. We've had him for 10 years. He's been a brilliant player for us. Let's move on. Big up to George. Good morning to you. Of course, one of my moderators and a channel member. Good morning to Kip. Sorry, to Kip. Big up to you. Hope you're well. Looks like we've got our Levy back. Good morning to, where are we? Come on, you purrs. Come on, you purrs. Big up to you. Good morning to John Racha or Raka. Let me know how that's said. Good morning, Savva. Hope Mrs. Savva had a great birthday. She did. And her voice is now very croaky. A long, long weekend of celebrations and shenanigans. Kip said, I heard we've got first option on Sonny's first son when born. Cool. Surely that's not true. Good morning, Bryce. How you doing? Well, good evening for you. Yes, of course. Today, Savva, how's Stanley go? He was very good at puppy trading on Friday. He was very good. Sometimes the concentration isn't there, but Friday he did very, very well. It's weird because he's very big now, but still a puppy. Good morning to Atavatron Wembley 1. Good morning all. Apparently Atletico don't have the cash needed to buy Romero. So I can see their fullback, who I've seen stories we could be looking at, being a make weight in the deal. Never good. Well, listen, I don't think clubs utilise that enough, cash plus player. I don't. I mean, I don't know which fullback it is that you're talking about, but I don't think there's anything wrong with doing player plus cash deals. I know it's not good for the vanity of the transfer fee for a player to turn around and go, oh, yeah, I was sold once for 30 million plus a player. But as far as business goes, listen, let's see who it is. Atletico Madrid, yeah, do they have the money? I got sent this morning. Bear with me. Let's have a look. By the way, thank you to the 2 new people that have subscribed this morning. It's very generous of you. I got sent this morning. Yeah, Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone on Romero. He said, do I want Cuti Romero? Obviously, he is a great player. Now, read into that what you will. It's like me being asked, would you like Lionel Messi? Yeah, I love Messi. Great player. Doesn't mean I'm going to get him. And somebody asked me yesterday, would I have Lionel Messi for a year at Tottenham? I don't know if they were joking or not, but yeah, I'd swap our whole squad for Lionel Messi. Yeah, of course. Rob Welch. How you doing, Rob? I said, I actually want to keep Bissouma. Honestly think if utilised properly and as he should be, there is a player there. Now, I don't disagree with you in terms of the being utilised properly. I'm just looking at it and thinking, to buy footballers, you've got to make money. And at some point, at some point, you've got to start making funds. You've got to sell players. Now, Bissouma is one that gets talked about leaving all the time. I agree with you. I think he's a very good midfielder if played right, i.e. in that kind of double pivot. I don't think he's not a number 6. He's not a deep line player. I think we've wasted him for a couple of the years that he's been here. But some might say it's been a very underwhelming 3 years for him, right? Some might say it's been a very, very underwhelming 3 years. But listen, we have a good player on our hands at the times when he's played in the right position. Let's see what Thomas Frank wants to do with him. Let's move forward. I'm about 14 minutes behind the chat. Let me quickly move forward. Big up to Mix Mitchell, who's a channel member. Said, morning, Savva, and big up the chat, including all the mutants. Yes, always have to include the mutants. Good morning to you, Carl Boyd. I said, I can't wait to see Frank's first training session. Proper coach. Yeah, it's going to be good. I hope they film it. I'd like to see that. Peter, I said, looks like PSG are a real tough side. They just thumped Atletico 4-0. Yeah, 4-0. If I'm not wrong, did I see that? So was it Clement Longley was sent off? Didn't they go down to 10 men? What do I reckon with Matt Wells? Well, apparently he's staying, right? Apparently he is staying at the club. So it looks like he'll be working under Thomas Frank moving forward. As far as I'm aware, I don't know any more than you on that, I'm afraid. Lucky Singh said, Mbeumo talks bid in. We will meet the 62.4 million. If not, as a Cliver transfers go for. Listen, I genuinely don't know. I'm waiting to see if there's any official news that we've slapped in a bid. I keep seeing it from sources that I don't normally trust. Let's see. Let's absolutely see. TTID, Tottenham Till I Die, has said we're getting cooked come the Super Cup match. Well, look, let's not worry about the Super Cup match just yet. Hang on. Let's not worry about the Super Cup match just yet. We've got a long pre-season to go through. We've got friendlies. We've got transfers. We've got some coaching to do. Let's not worry about that. Good morning to the richest man. Good morning to Mace. Good morning to FC. Daniel, big up to you. I said, who wants to bet we go on pre-season without any experienced first team signings? Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Yeah, I'm really hoping it's different, Dan. It's that deluded bit of me. As I said, it's that 5% deluded bit of me which wants to believe it's going to be different. Let's see. Zabu Z said, hello, Savva. Do you homegrown rule problems? No. I think that we've made a decision in the last few years to kind of go down that route. As I've always said, I've got nothing against signing young players, but when it's only young players, it gets frustrating because every single time you then speak to someone, they say, give him time. We're too quick to judge. And it's like, oh yeah, but we're Tottenham Hotspur. We're not a semi-pro team. We're one of the biggest clubs in the country. You know, we don't need to just buy kids. Big up to Nickel. Hope you're well. Big up to Abdul Ghani. Hope you're well. And Winkle 70 says, where's all the club takeover chat gone? It's gone very, very quiet, hasn't it? The takeover chat. Maybe it was all smoke and mirrors. Good morning. Yes. Sorry, Montreal. Yeah. Always one of the most underrated races. Drivers like the fast and varied circuit. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's, I'm not a Formula One car guy. I don't really do all that stuff. Julian has said, that's very clever positioning, Savva. I don't know what you are referring to. Let me know. I'm not normally very clever, so that doesn't sound like me. Why is everything always about winning or losing? You know, I feel like if someone has an opinion and they get it wrong, everyone goes, you're wrong. I want to be wrong. I want Daniel Levy to absolutely prove me wrong and sign some top footballers. I want to win league titles. I want to be wrong. I want Tell to score 30 goals next season. But, hey, good morning to Drula. How you doing? I love that. Drula is a Franker. Love that. Everyone's a Thomas Franker, aren't they? Big up to you. Big up to you. Big up to Blaine Dev if you're watching. I've just seen your WhatsApp. Love that. Dogs are absolutely sensational, aren't they? Hang on, let me respond to that. Yeah, they're amazing. Thank you. 3 people have subscribed today. That's very, very generous of you. Where are we? Where are we? Good morning to Tweak, who's also a channel member. Big up to you. Big up to my man, Avi. Avi, always in the gym, always getting ripped. There he is, ripped. Go on, Avi. Do it while you're young enough. The older you get, the harder it is to get in that gym. Elliot said, is it true that Spurs are interested on Garnacho? I'm seeing a lot of reports saying it. I mean, look, I think for me, this is probably going to be more putting 2 and 2 together and getting 7. Apparently, he wants to stay in the Premier League. So he's going to straight away be linked with the Tottenhams, the Villas, the Newcastles, the Evertons, isn't he? It's going to happen. Notorious PIG said Xavi Simons open to a move to Spurs. Take him all day long. Good footballer. Got a bit of experience underneath his belt now. I would definitely take him. Let's see. Another one that's been bandied about. Eze, Simons, Semenyo, Mbeumo. Lots and lots of names. Is the Sheriff. The Sheriff is in town. I said glorious 16th fishing season is open on the rivers. Yes. Big up to you, Sheriff. Fishing on the rivers. Where's my invite to go fishing with you, Mark? Where is it? Dog lead. Big up to you. I love that. That's a great name. Said, let both leave and reinforce with better quality. Well, let's move on to that. Let's move on to that. Let's move on to that. And by the way, yeah, Frank, this deal's been in the going since January. People are just using it now as something to beat Frank with before he's even set foot in the training ground. It's truly, truly remarkable. Aussie Spur TV said, evening all. Hope everyone is well. Good evening to you as well. Let us know what's the time there in your part of Australia. Good luck watching Tell over Sunny. That's a weird thing to say. That's a very weird thing to say. Let's have a look. The poll. We put a poll out. Only 220 votes so far. Oh, no. Hang on. It's going up. It's still going up. 270 votes. Would you let Bissouma and Son leave is the question. The options are Bissouma only, Son only, either, or both can go. Now, both can go is absolutely smashing this poll with 77%. 13% are saying Son only, 6% Bissouma only, and only 4% want both of them to stay. So 4% want both Bissouma and Son to stay at Tottenham. Those 285 votes. So you can all click on a poll, but you can't tick on a like button, which is exactly the same method. Boom. Smash that like button. 2, Don Soulful. Good morning. Said, I agree with you, Savva. Not one player in our squad is nailed on and brilliant. All of it average. Don't mention the car crash Europa final. Listen, for me, I think we got some good players to do. I think we got some good players. But there's no one there where I go, oh my God, we sold him. No one. There's no one. Gone are the days when we had a Carrick, a Defoe, a Sheringham, a Bale, a Modric, a Ginola. These players, I didn't Walkers, the Dembélés. Oh, couldn't think of anything worse than these players going. The Canes. Now, I don't think those players are there. And I think that's probably why we've got an average league position of 10th for the last 3 seasons. Morning, Savva. Do you think Johnson will be moved over to the left wing? No. Possibly. I don't see why, though. I don't see why he would be moved over to the left wing. I don't think he's very good on the right wing, so we'll see. I think at the moment with him, you've got to just keep getting him in that box and scoring goals. Other than that, there's nothing I rate about him as a player, but he scores goals. And for that, we've got to be truly grateful. Thanks, Savva. Good morning. My surname, Rachel, is pronounced ch, not as a K. So Rachel. Okay, not Raker. Yeah, Rachel. Big up to you, John Rachel. There we go. Just important to get that information. Piercy said, morning, Savva. I'm going to stay positive. Yes. Tell was always coming in. True. Transfer window now open. Let's see who we get. Now, every day on our shows, we're all going to be sitting here going, Come on. Is there any news? Is there anything exciting happening at Tottenham Hotspur? We can only see Skills. I said Ange over Frank. Good morning to you, Skills. Unfortunately, you're going to have to go and support the club that Ange moves to then. Unfortunately, he is not at Tottenham anymore. By the way, lots of talk today about Patrick Schick. Lots of clubs apparently interested in Patrick Schick. That'll be an interesting one. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know in the chat. Bissouma, Son, keeping them, selling them. Please let me know why as well. Elliot said Atletico did spend a lot of money last summer. They did indeed. It remains to be seen whether or not they're going to have a lot of money this summer as well. It remains to be seen completely. Where are we? Big up to Rick Kane. The observant one says Romero is not for sale. Levy just needs to increase his wages. I think before we increase his wages, he needs to get fit. He needs to get fit and available to play, right? Before we talk about increasing somebody's wages. At the moment, you're talking about paying more money for someone that's playing less football year on year. You've got to weigh it up. Big up to Free for All said the bookies are showing Tottenham as favourites to sign Jack Grealish. Well, we had a big conversation and debate about Jack Grealish last night, didn't we? But again, Eze, Mbeumo, Semenyo, Simons, Grealish, lots and lots of names being bandied around. Let's see what happens. Maybe a loan deal. I don't know. Maybe we say to Man City, we'll pay half, you pay half. Let us have him for a year. Let's see. Listen, it's a World Cup year. He's gonna probably, honestly, he's 29. He's gonna be thinking to himself, this could be my last opportunity at a World Cup. He'll be wanting to impress Thomas Tuchel. Let's see, shall we? Yeah, listen, I agree. I don't think they've got the money. £9 million. Brighton, breaking news, £9 million Brighton are playing for Diego Coppola. 9 million. See, when we're spending 40 million on these youngsters, 9 million. Good morning to Jackson B. So morning, Savva. Just got in. Let's get rid of Son and Bissouma. Have to raise some funds. Listen, I think there's a lot of money that can be made there. Son, Bissouma, I think Richarlison, Solomon, I think maybe at the back, has Ben Davis signed to stay? Has he signed so we can sell him? Dare I say it? Jed Spence, will he be wanting to stay after not getting game time? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Skills said Savva, Spurs will finish mid-table again. Thomas Frank is a mid-table manager. I mean, mid-table would be an improvement from the guy you just said you wanted, who had a 17th and nearly in relegation. But sure. And when you say we'll finish mid-table again, I mean, he's never managed Spurs. So, give the guy a chance. Just a bit crazy. And the thing is, you've got one of those names. Well, I'll remember this. Let's see as the season goes on. Jay Spurs said we need a big signing after Tell to make a statement. Yeah, listen, I don't disagree with you. I think we say this every year. We need a signing where we go, right, we're on board. Right, we see what we're doing. Oh, hang on, who's at my front door? Sorry, bear with me 1 second. Always an Amazon parcel. Like, always, it's like clockwork. Always an Amazon parcel. By the way, big up to each and every one of you. 150 on the likes out of 500 people. Come on, you lot. That should be 300. And on the poll, 333 votes. Still both can go. Absolutely smashing the votes on that one. Peter, well, apparently he's a Man United fan. We'll see if he is or not. But if he goes, we've got to have something else lined up. There's no point crying over spilt milk. Plenty of other players. But let's see what Tottenham do. Yeah, I saw it yesterday. He didn't really give a lot away, did he? Big up to my man, Kuva. You're always welcome on. You know you are, mate. If you want to come on, you just message me. So big up, Savva, Eze, Wharton and Braithwaite, in which is also great for homegrown quota, assuming some Bissouma Romero are leaving. Yeah, listen, Eze, I reckon could happen. Wharton, I can't see. I honestly believe Palace would slap a £100 million price tag on him. English, only been there 18 months. But yeah, listen, listen. If we, I mean, that would be solidifying. Sorry, solidifying the spine, wouldn't it? But can we make it happen? Branthwaite, I don't know. I don't know about Branthwaite. Very injury prone. Didn't have a great season bowl accounts, but listen, lots of people raving about him. Curtis Jones, the Curtis Jones, said, I feel bad for you, brother. No shade, but every time I see you, it's like you're in pain. And I wish I could send you a coupon to a massage parlor. Pain? I'm not in any pain. Don't know what you're talking about, but okay, big up to you. Feel free to send me massage parlor things. Ricardo said, hi, Savva. Do you think Frank can get a tune out of Richarlison? When, look, when we're saying a tune out of Richarlison, what does that mean? What does that mean? He's never been a prolific goal scorer, so I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means. I really, really don't. Can he get better out of him than Ange did? I don't know, maybe. But listen, again, for me, Richarlison is shithousery, right? He works hard. You know, he causes issues through physicality and battling. Technically, he's not good. His goal-scoring stats aren't good. I'd want better. You want to win the league. I mean, hang on. Before people like you say this, let's rein it in a little bit. I'd love to win a league. I think every fan of every club in the country would love to win the league. But I also know we're not going to win the league. So I think this is a bit silly. Well, we might be lucky to finish top 6. If we did finish top 6, it would be 11 places higher than last season, wouldn't it? Rob Belcher said, bringing a lighter side to the conversation. If your dog was a Spurs player, which one would it be? Oh, God. Stanley would definitely be Kulusevski. He doesn't stop running, just constantly buzzing about. And the pug would very much be Radu Dragusin. Not a lot of pace. Wanders about at the back. Yeah. It's 7:31 p.m. in Sydney. Happy evening to all of you lot in Sydney. Big up to my man Blaine Davison. Why do I get a sinking feeling we're going to end up signing Grealish, Rashford, and Ramsey? Listen, I'd take Ramsey, Grealish, and Rashford as it stands. I think all 3 of them are better than what we've got in our front 3. I'm just saying, not saying I want them all. I just think they're all better than what we've got. When we say this, I think we've got to be careful. I look at our forward line and I just think it's terrible. But yet we look at players like this, Blaine. Are we really saying that, listen, I'll take Jacob Ramsey. I'll take Grealish. I mean, Rashford is the age-old thing, isn't it? If you get the best out of him, maybe Frank could. But I don't know. Listen, I just know that I need new forwards. I just know that we need new forwards. I like Grealish as well. I don't know why there's so much hate for a player that's that good. Honestly, I do think we forget. I do think we forget how bad our squad is at times. Not bad, how lackluster our squad is at times. Ronnie has said Porro, Romero, VDV, Son. The rest of the squad can all go. Don't care. Porro, Romero, VDV, Son. I mean, yeah, but I mean, again, how long are we keeping some for? How long are we just keeping some for? Romero and VDV, sure, let's build a back 4 around 2 centre-halves that are never fit. Got to engage a little bit. Listen, I'm not saying they need to go, but you know, you've got to think about those things. Can we keep players fit so that they give you maximum output? And at the moment, I don't think we do. Bonsai Bakarobo, love that. That's a great name. Said Savva. Have you seen that Everton may have open links with Richarlison? None of the big guns mentioning it. Yes, but 20 million price discussed. Thoughts? Yeah, listen, I think he's a perfect David Moyes and Everton player. I think he's a perfect player for Everton. It wouldn't surprise me if that deal was to happen. Will it happen? I genuinely don't know. But listen, I think we've had him for, how long we had him now? 3 years. Bit underwhelming. Well, actually, he's not underwhelming. He's what I thought we were getting. So far from Solanke and Richarlison, I feel like we're getting exactly what we probably thought we would. But yeah, let's see if he goes. Big up to Liston. How you doing, my man? Hope you're well. Said, have we really paid anything for Tell? Isn't it just the Kane installment reduced for buying? Liston, that's still money we would have received, right? So in the short term, we've not paid anything out. In the long term, the money would have been coming in for Harry Kane. We're not getting those installments, right? So look, the other way of looking at it, Liston, is that we've paid what, £45 million for him. We sold Harry Kane for 55 million odd, and Tell. If you look at it like that, is that a good deal? I'm not sure. I'll let you guys work that one out for yourselves. Good morning to my man Paul. How you doing, bro? So morning, Savva. I hope you're well. Always well. We all knew Tell was coming. Class Tell was Frank signing or Edge. I don't think it's an either signing. I think we knew the club was signing him. But yeah, for me now, the time is for Son and Bissouma. Thank you and good luck. Yeah, listen, I think that I would move Son on. I think if it goes, I'm comfortable with that as well. And Richarlison, Scarlett, Divine, Brian Hill, Højbjerg, Davis, Solomon. I think we could get some decent money into the club if we actually be ruthless. But the problem is there seems to be an argument for keeping every single footballer at the club, and then we always want Levy to buy better. Well, if you don't sell players, you can't buy players. It's really that simple. That is just how economics and finance works, right? You've got to sell to buy. You don't buy a new house unless you've sold your old one, unless you're very, very rich, right? So, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it. What are you talking about? Garnacho? Yeah, sure. It just remains to be seen where, right? It just remains to be seen where Garnacho goes. Mace has said, the fixture's out this week at some point. Bet we're away to Arsenal first, North London derby, and away to Liverpool towards the end of the season. Each and every season, that's the case. We're going to find out Wednesday, I believe. I believe it's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Could be lying. I could be lying, but I'm pretty sure it is. Rodney, how you doing, my man? Rodney. So big up, Savva. We just need players to make us hard to beat. Agreed. Then we move on from there, getting slapped week in, week out. Don't feel too good. Just my opinion. Rodney, absolutely. I think all these people are saying, but just win a trophy. I'd like to just not be embarrassed week in, week out. I don't know about you lot. I'd just like to watch Spurs without the feeling that we're going to concede 4 or 5 goals every single game. Pete thinks we're winning the quadruple. Sure, let's go for it. The quad starts now. And if I'm not wrong, it isn't the quadruple, is it? It would be the 5, which is the quintuple. Is that 5? Quin? Is it the quintuple? Is it? Hang on. If 4 is a quadruple, what is 5? It's the quintuple. I thought I was right. Yay, go me. Well done, Savva. Yeah, so we've got 5 trophies to play for this season. Lucky Singh said, good have Savvy, good passionate football fan. Thank you, mate. I try my best, mate. I try my best. We won the league in my lifetime. I was 1. Big up to you, Tony. We all now know what year you were born. Big up to you. So you were a 1960 baby, right? You were a 1960 baby. Going strong. Big up to you. Big up to Blaine Dev, who said belated birthday gift to Mrs. Savva. Hope she had a cracking weekend. I think she did. Lots of food and drink was consumed in and amongst streaming and partying and dog walking and this and that and the other. So thank you very much, Blaine. Very, very generous. And for all those not generous in the chat, Blaine, there's 500 people in here and 175 likes. It is unbelievable. Smash that like button. Thank you very much, Blaine. That is very generous of you indeed. Yeah, I mean, we said, plus there is no shame in not working out as a City player. Listen, I think when Jack Grealish looks back on his career, he'll see that he was an integral part of Man City's treble-winning team. If that's not working out, I'll take it all day, every day. Diggs said, morning, Savva. It's a breath of fresh air that we actually have a coach Levy needs to let Frank identify what he needs. Sure, absolutely. Problem you're always going to have, though, is even if Frank says, I want this guy, if it's not who the fans want, they're going to go, oh, Levy again. When realistically, we might not know. We might not know. Is it Frank? Is it Levy? But hey, it's the game we all play. Robert, big up to you, Robert Campbell, said loan deals for Rashford and Grealish with their Champions experience would be great. Would sign Ramsey, but don't think Villa would sell. Yeah, I mean, again, I guess it all depends. Does Frank want Ramsey? You know, is Ramsey the sort of player that fits into what Frank's system will be? What will Frank's system be? We know that Villa might have to sell for some PSR issues, but who they'll sell, we don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they've worked a reach around. I don't know. We'll see. Alfie Hall said, I don't think Levy will take 20 million for Richie. I think 30 is fair, considering we paid 60 in the first place. I agree, Alfie. I think it wasn't it sort of 50 million plus add-ons or something? So I think 30 would be fairer. I do agree with you on that, my man. Did I see that Phil P is in the chat? Whenever Phil P's in the chat, it's a good morning. There he is. Phil P. Happy Monday. Savva and Co. Thank you for your WhatsApp yesterday, Phil, as well. Son and Biss could both get back to their best under Frank. Now, there's the dilemma, isn't it? But everyone is open to go. We need more turnover in the squad. And this is the difference, isn't it? Could Bissouma and Son suddenly be amazing in a Frank system? Sure. Or do you sell them and bring in funds? Because where else? You can't sell Kulu because he's injured. I don't think Maddison's going to be sold. Solanke's just joined. I can't see Johnson being sold. That bloody flight has turned up again. That means I know the back door's open somewhere. Well, back door's open at the back door, maybe. So, yeah, at some point, we're going to have to sell players to turn over the squad. You're absolutely right. By the way, guys and girls, we are edging towards 18.6K. Let's start smashing that subscribe button, shall we? It's almost like if I don't put the link in, people forget to subscribe. There is the link. I'm putting it in, and I'm going to pin it. Let's have a look. Let's pin that. Oh, come on. Loads of comments today. Come on. There we go. Boom. I've pinned it. Pin. There's the link pinned. If anyone would like to subscribe, we're only about 40 away now from 18.6K. So we're moving nicely towards the 20K, which I do want to hit by the end of the transfer window. Super Spurs TV, which is Blaine Dev, said, my worry about Grealish is he's not any different to Kulu. Oh no, I think he's superior to Kulu in every single way. Rashford will want bonkers money. True. Ramsey is solid for the right money, but get your point. Yeah, listen, I think it's difficult. I just think I want to see it refreshed, Blaine. I want to see it refreshment in the Spurs squad. I'm just getting a little bit bored every year of seeing Richarlison, Son. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting bored of seeing Kulu. I'm getting bored of seeing Bentancur. I don't know. I just want to freshen it up. Just get some new vibes going on inside the club, some new players. Again, Grealish has passed his best. We've got no way of knowing that. If he goes to a new club, maybe he gets a resurgence. He's had a difficult year, but why are we all pretending we know he's past his best? Like, I think it's crazy. I think it's absolutely crazy. Zegrom said Solomon over Tell. Well, Solomon could be coming back to training with Spurs. Let's see. Big up to Phil Coys. How you doing? Must be very happy his boy Tell has just signed. Shem Tan said, don't worry, Savva. When we get Carl Walker-Peters and Christian Eriksen on freeze, we'll be unstoppable. Well, I do think that we will get Carl Walker-Peters. I think that will be one used for the homegrown quota. I think that will be one used for club trained, can cover right back and left back. I do think they will. I think it's all about the optics, because if he was to be the next signing, I think most of the fan base would lose their minds, right? We'd lose our minds. If he was the signing after 3 or 4 top players come in, I think you all go, yeah, we get it. Optics, honestly, optics are very, very important. Corey boy, big up Corey. So time for a clear out. Son, Suma, Richie, Cootie can all go. As I said, I'm not upset to see any of them go. I mean, they can stay. I'm not upset for them to stay, not upset for them to go. But let's start refreshing this football club, shall we? Lots of comments today on Bissouma and Son. Højbjerg already sold. Yes, yeah. He's off, isn't he, to Marseille? Yeah, fair play. He's off to Marseille. So there's some money coming into the club already. I would do the same with Solomon, 15, 20 million. And then straight away, you've already made about 30 million, 35 million pounds, right? So for me, no brainers. Oh, Phil P, fun fact. Even besides the money side of things, we need to sell to free up space in the squad for new and improved players to come in. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, mate. You've got to. I think a lot of the times we just say sign him, and him. But we don't realise that you need foreign quota, homegrown quota. So players have to go out, players have to come in, revenue has to come in, right? By the way, let me know, guys. I always try and read as many comments as possible. I love going through your comments. And that's my style of YouTube. And hopefully everyone enjoys that in the mornings. Yes, James, quintuple. I thought it was, but I just had when you say something and you go, yes, Alan. Yeah. Winning all 5 is called what? A miracle. Yes. Well, I mean, Man City only did a treble, right? Or did Man City do 4 that year? I think Barcelona did all 5, didn't they? 1 year. Good evening to Ren. Good evening to you. Hope you're well out there in Australia. Simon, I did see this last night. Yes, that apparently Aymeric Laporte is looking to leave Saudi. Shock. And apparently there are a raft. I love that. A raft of Premier League and European clubs all looking to bring him back to Europe. I can imagine he's a top centre half, a really good player. For me, completely wasted in moving out to Saudi. So hopefully we'll see him back in Europe. Did you wear a number 1 dad apron? No, not being a dad, it would be weird if I did that. Phil Coys said, Son, 40 million, Bissouma 30 million, Solomon 25, Richie 25, 30. Listen, I agree, Phil. Got to start. Yeah, I agree. Now imagine, Phil. Well, we haven't agreed on loads in the past, but now imagine you're somewhere in and around that mark, right? Imagine you're somewhere in and around the 100, 110 million mark. Plus, the club will have transfer budget anyway. Now you can have a 200 million pound transfer window. The problem is, if we keep everyone, where's the money coming from and where are the squad spaces coming from? Yeah, I wouldn't be against both Bissouma and Son leaving, says Phil. Yeah, I as that came out of my mouth, I heard myself say reach around and thought, are they going to pick up on that? And I quickly moved on. And there you are, picking up on that. Yes, of course, I meant a work around. I mean, maybe a reach around as well. Who knows? I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, man. Danny Boy said, maybe, if this happens. I agree. Danny Boy, I agree. We need signing players that walk in straight away. I completely agree with you, mate. Everyone was moaning at Levy cheaping out or buying the likes of Solanke Johnson. When Ange said he wanted those players, Levy did back Ange and he'll back Frank too. We'll see. I don't believe all of them are any just manager players, but I do believe there are some that managers like. Savva, who would we have from Villa? We should have got Onana when he was at Everton. Yeah, I like Onana. Powerful midfielder. Adds that bit of manliness, doesn't he, to a midfield? That bit of strength, that bit of brute force. And we've not got it. Who would I take from Villa? There's many I'd take, whether you get them. I mean, I'd take Rodgers. Can't see him moving anywhere at all. They would slap a massive price tag on him. I would take, who would I take? I'd take many of them, mate. There's too many to mention. I'd take many of them. Big up. Let's have a look at the poll. We've just got over 215 likes. So big up to you for that. On the poll, we've got 450 votes. 7% would let Bissouma go only. 12% Son only. 4% would sell neither. And 77% said both can go. So I think it kind of looks very much unanimous in the favour that both of those two fans would be happy to go. Obviously, just this sample size. Obviously, there'd be a bigger sample size out there. Kulu scores more goals than Grealish, yeah, but listen, for me, Grealish is a much better footballer than Kulu. Always has been. Both lack pace, yeah, but you don't need everyone with pace, right? You've got to have some footballers that can hold the ball up, don't give the ball away. And that's what Grealish does. Big up, Alan. I said, big up, mate. Big up to you. How good is it having a real manager? Well, we'll find out, won't we, in due course. Said someone who understands how to counteract the opposition. I'm most looking forward to. Bourbon Buzzard said, I think we overhyped Kulu. I agree. I think he's been overhyped for 4 years. I would definitely see him as a sellable asset if he was fit. Hey, listen, I like Kulu. He's okay. I just think a lot of our fans, Kulu has spells where he has 10 good games and we suddenly start going, he's the best player in the league. He's the best midfielder. Any club want him. He walks into any club in Europe. And then we don't say anything. And then we don't see anything for about another 10, 15 games. And we go, oh, but he's tired. And yeah, he's all right. Oh, thank you. There's a glowing reference. This is a good football channel. Thank you, Lucky Singh. Feel free to let me know what you think, people. I'm sure we'll get some very interesting answers. What sort of a channel is this? Is it good? Is it great? Is it utterly shit? You let me know. Pass. I'm guessing next week. But it won't stop any transfers. You can do transfers when anyone is anywhere in the world. Phil Marshall said, I'd put it to people, if we got 200 million for Son, Cootie, Richie, Bentancur, and got Eze and Mbeumo and Dicker or Braithwaite, people kick up a fuss or I'll be buzzing. If you turn around and said to me, you've got Eze in the middle of the park, and Mbeumo on the right, Undercar at the back, yeah, absolutely. Sure, if he can stay fit and if he wants to sign a contract, of course. I always caveat, if he wants to be here, I genuinely don't think he wants to be at Tottenham. I genuinely don't. I think we can all see he doesn't want to be here, right? All of his press conferences and interviews, he never actually says, he always has to drop in about somewhere else. We have 100 to 150 million available, not including players we can possibly sell. I would say that the club probably has between 75 and 100 million as a budget, but then with more sales, you get more money, right? But we'll see. You never know with Spurs. Oh, Mark, stop it. Thank you, mate. Yeah, listen, it's going to be interesting. All eyes now are going to move away from Dan So and Tell. Deep down, we all knew it, right? Deep down, we all knew that they were coming. Deep down, I was thinking, I don't want Tell, but I kind of knew he was coming. Let's see. Let's see what we do moving forward. Neil has said Grealish is better than Kulu. Grealish keeps possession. Kulu loses it. Bang on. Jack Grealish keeps the football. He retains the ball. He wins more free kicks than any other player in the Premier League. That is vital for taking pressure off your defence and putting pressure on the other team from set-piece deliveries. So, again, I completely agree. Mark, that's very generous. Said, morning, Savva. Absolutely my go-to channel for Spurs chat. Big up to you, Mark. That's very generous of you to say. Thank you. Darren Rees said, morning, Savva and chat. Just on my taco break. Taco break? Okay, Darren, are you in the US? Am I generalizing that? A taco break as in a snack? You're going for a taco? I would tell Johnson, listen, if a bid came in for Brennan Johnson, 40, 50 million, I'm all over it. Listen, I'm all over it. I know other people wouldn't be. They do their Johnson again, ole, ole. But for me, no time for sentiment. I want good footballers at this club. MC, WHL, White Hart Lane, I reckon that is. How are there more votes in the poll than likes for the stream? Sort this out, people. Exactly. That is baffling. 490 votes, 70 votes, and only 230 likes. How is that possible? How have we not got boom, boom? It's 2 taps of a button. Big up to you. It's a good channel. There's plenty of room for improvement, as always. As always, Phil is channeling his inner Mr. Box Office. It's always a great channel to watch. I don't get used to it, though. James T has said, I honestly think we are 3 times 60 million starting players away from really competing. I mean, when you say competing, I think we're a lot of players away from winning titles. But I think we're 3 top players away from being a top 4 team. I do. But now it's almost the top 5 now. look, I mean, as Mbeumo's just come on the screen there, we need to be getting better players like that. Let's see what Spurs do. This is, we can sit here and we can bash Levy, and I've bashed him plenty over the years. We can bash the scouts. Now's their time to prove us wrong. Now's their time to shut us up, isn't it? You've got 77 days to go in a transfer window. 77. Now is the time to get shit done. Let's not wait until the last 17 days when the season starts. Let's get it done. Let's get it done nice and early. Let's act like a big club. Let's go into pre-season with an Eze and a Mbeumo and an Ndika, whoever we're signing. Let's get those people in, shall we? Let's get them in. Big up, Phil Coys. What are you on about? You have not a clue about Frank. I've no idea what that's all about. Sorry, I shouldn't have read that. No, I'm a UK lorry driver. A taco break. Okay. I'm not a fan of tacos, just putting it out there right away, but you enjoy yours. You enjoy yours, Darren, and you be careful out there on the roads. A lot of driving. Make sure you sleep. Right. Okay. A lorry driver. Sorry, I didn't know. Sorry. Okay. All right, everyone. All right. I get it. Everyone's telling me. Savva is an office jockey. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. My bad. Okay. Trump always chickens out. Jesus. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm sorry. I now know what a taco break is. I now know. Sorry. I thought you meant a taco as in, that will teach me. You learn something new every day. Leunda says Romero is good with the ball at his feet, but his defending is mad overrated. I completely agree with you. But for me, it's more than that. It's, as we said last night, it is about availability. If he can be available for 38 games a season, I'm all over it. If he can't, I'm not all over it. Here we go. The notorious PIG has said reports this morning that we're interested in Lucien Agome. Yeah, we've been linked with Lucien Agome before, right? There's loads of reports flying around. It's a bit quiet today, actually, on the transfer front for all clubs, but it is only 11:06 in the UK. Fabrizio Romano's just said that Al Hilal are not giving up on Victor Osimhen as they want to submit new proposals to player. Osimhen rejected them 10 days ago. Race openers, Galatasaray and Premier League clubs are still there, while Juventus called again. So Victor Osimhen is much in demand, and you get it. Strikers, there's not many of them about, right? There's not many of them about. So you can absolutely understand why he is much sought after. Alfie Hall said people just look at GA for Grealish. You shouldn't look at that for him. He is an anomaly because he's one of the few players who draws numerous fouls. Listen, of course, everyone can improve on their goals and assists. But you're right, Alfie. When you watch Jack Grealish play, I don't think people understand his game if they just judge him on that. He is absolutely brilliant at taking his team up the pitch, holding onto the ball. What we have is a lot of quick wingers who run at fullbacks, lose the ball, and then the ball comes straight back against us. Jack Grealish stops that from happening. He stops the counter-attacks. Stanley Kush said Mbeumo isn't coming. His interview yesterday told me he's not interested. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, he didn't. For me, I don't think he gave away too much, but I do think, Stanley Kush, I do think that he will end up at Man United. I hope I'm wrong. Hoping he's being unveiled as a Spurs player at some point. I do think he will be at Manchester United. Big up to each and every one of you. You lot today, though, so tight on the like button. Only 257 out of 522. God, what's that? About half, isn't it? Really poor. Really, really poor. Rick Kane. Oh, best Spurs channel for the analytical side of City, all combined with robust debate. Everyone is heard. Fair play. So listen, I like it. I like those that agree. I like those that disagree. We've got to have it. By the way, we've got the fan calling show at 5 p.m. And then at 7:40 p.m., 7:45 p.m., we're going to have Chelsea versus Los Angeles FC for a live watch-along. Some live football to watch. And then tomorrow, what we got tomorrow? I think we've got two tomorrow. 1 second. Today, Tuesday. I don't think I've got one tomorrow. FIFA World Club Cup. No. Tomorrow, though, I have got my morning show. And then we've got Lubo will be joining me tomorrow afternoon for Savva and Lubo Ask Us Anything. Stell's not available at the moment for those shows. So Lubo will be stepping in. That will be in the afternoon. Could we squeeze in a FIFA World Cup evening game? River Plate v Urawa. Don't know if enough people will want to watch it. Then Wednesday, we've got 2 back-to-back games. At 5 p.m., we've got Real Madrid v Al Hilal. Should be a good game. And then, Man City v Wydad at 5 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., we've got Real Madrid v Al Hilal. Then on Thursday, I believe we've got one. On Thursday, we've got Inter Miami versus FC Porto. So the likes of Messi and Suarez, etc., against Porto. So we've got a lot of football for you this week on the channel. So stick with us. Please keep smashing the like and subscribe button. We're now only 36 subscribers away from 18.6K. Julian said, yeah, the best ability is availability. Look, I've said it for years about Romero. It's brilliant when he's playing and fit and doing well, but a lot of the time he's not. David Shinola is here. What a sexy man. Big up, David. The best quality is availability. A lot of people saying that now. Alan Lane has said 2 excellent players in early is desirable. Then add others ASAP. Will be interesting to see what happens. Mate, absolutely. But, I get it. We say this every year, Alan, don't we? And we never do it. This year's got to be a year where we do. J12DN has said a lot of teams already bought in players, albeit they're in the Club World Cup. Are we just waiting, or is this another case of being left behind? We're about to find out. Look, the transfer window's open this morning. We're about to find out. Are Spurs going to act decisively, quickly? Are we going to do that? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to do that, right? But we need to do that. There's a difference between me thinking we should do it and actually doing it. Rick Kane said, best Spurs chat. Oh, I did that one. Thank you very much. Leunda said, why is Lang still employed at our club? Well, I'm guessing that Lang is going to probably work under Paratici. I think he's going to work under Paratici. He'll probably junior signings. In my mind, he'll probably be doing the junior signings as opposed to Paratici. Will probably look at the bigger signings. That's the way I see it. I don't know what you guys might think. That's the way I see it, though. Chris Green, channel member. How you doing, Chris? Said, Savva, what's your gut feeling? Same old transfer talk with a disappointing end. Things feel different. We mean business. Yeah, it's difficult, really, because, again, if I go by what Lubo was saying yesterday, this transfer window hasn't really started for us yet. We've tied up loose ends with the loan deals for Tell and for we've let go of the players that are out of contract. We've changed manager. It hasn't really got going. Listen, the cynic in me says, it will be exactly the same as always. But we have just seen Levy act very decisively over a manager, pay out a lot of money to get this manager and get rid of the old one. So, is he moving differently? I think so. Will he? I don't know. Big up, Georgette. This week's channel member only show will probably be Wednesday, maybe. Probably Wednesday. We'll see. It'll be on one day this week. Yeah, troll free. Everyone can just have a chat with no pressure. I'm not Craig Leas. I'm not sure if our targets are real or journos guessing. Apparently won't pay 180K a week from Mbeumo. We're talking to Grealish and Sancho. You're talking about Newcastle here. Yeah, I'm surprised Newcastle haven't moved a bit quicker, if I'm honest. Travel World is a great channel, Savva. I think we need to not only improve the first team, but the backups too. For years, the drop-off in quality between first team and reserves has been too big. Yeah, I think the best way to do that, though, is you improve the first 11. Some of the first 11 drop down to be squad players. Some of the squad players are sold. And I think that's the way we've got to do it. Good morning to Carlson, who said, I don't remember how it looks like when Jack Grealish played that long ago. Listen, he's played 30-odd games of football this season. So, I think people are going just a little bit over the top as though he's not played any football. Corey has said, when all people do is use XGA and XG to judge a player, I really don't use the eye test. I think it depends, right? I agree with you, but it depends. If I'm buying a striker and he's my number one striker, I want to know what his goals record is, right? If I'm looking at a wide player, right, For someone like Brennan Johnson, it has to be goals and assists because he doesn't do anything else with the football. For someone like Jack Grealish, he brings a lot more to the game. So yeah, it all depends. Big up to Pete. How you doing, my man? Said, morning, mate. Glad you are about this morning. Messy breakup with the missus last night and struggling to get going today. Welcome, Smiles and Jackson. Listen, I'm sorry to hear that. Listen, these things can always be sorted out unless you don't want to. Can I tell you the best thing for something like that? Ring up your lads. Get out and do something. Anything. Bowling. Go-karting. Pub. Well, actually, pub's a bad one. You get drunk and cry. You know, just get out, do something. See the boys, see the lads. Go somewhere. Bit of fresh air. Get to the park. And don't sit in and mope is the advice I can give you. But, hey, maybe this can be fixed. So big up to you, Pete. And hang on in there, my man. Phil Coys said, I think Ottoman is in the group of players that want to stay in Europe in the best league to test himself. Kudos to him if he does. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Do that when you're at the back end of your career. Completely agree. So frustrating seeing so many top players go out to a poor league, at a kind of peak stage in their career. I haven't seen it. Listen, I'm guessing, Adiza, I'm guessing we're going to see many silly reports. I think we're going to see many reports of players coming, players going. Let's see. Joe, FHT, very generous. So Savage, genuine, honest and unbiased. Yeah, but the thing is, being honest and unbiased, it means I'm negative and toxic at the same time, right? Just because I don't say every player is amazing and I don't make YouTube videos every day saying why every single signing solves our problems. It is what it is. Big up to Emma Morton. How you doing, Emma? Good morning to you. I hope you are well on this lovely, lovely sunny morning. Yes, Daniel, the fixtures are released this Wednesday. I will be live just after they've been released. So, yes, I will be live as always. Well, all the reports were saying about Nicolo Pasili is that he's currently playing for the Italy under-21s, right? So at the moment, apparently nothing's going to happen with that until he's back from under-21 duty. I don't know how true that is. Has said, hang on. I haven't looked at the stats, but wouldn't keep asking me a good metric for Grealish. I would assume he'd be really high in that stat, retaining the ball. Possibly. For me, I don't need stats to look at Grealish and know he's a top player. That's the difference. I don't need stats. I just look at the way he controls the ball, manipulates it, brings others into the game, draws fouls, annoys defenders. You just know. Hang on. Danny's saying he's going to pop on for a little bit. Danny looks like he's just woken up. Where are we? Which show is this? I've got 3 set. It's this one. Invite guests, copy. Here we go. Let's get Danny on. So yeah, I think sometimes we're too heavily reliant on stats. Listen, I think stats are good for certain things, but I don't need stats to tell me that Xavi was one of the best players I've ever seen. His goals and assist stats would have been terrible. Do you know what I mean? Iniesta, how good would his goals and assist stats been? One of the greatest players I've ever seen play football. Who is our statement signing this window? I genuinely don't know. Again, Eze's name is just bandied about. Mbeumo, Semenyo, Xavi Simons, Grealish, Rash. I don't know, mate. I really, really don't know. Leunda says, Savage, do you think Braithwaite and Van der Ven as a pair would work because they're both left-footed? Listen, back in the day, we never used to worry about all this right, left-footed. You just put 2 centre-halves together. Look, I think it would be a very injury-prone centre-back pairing. Both are very injury-prone. I think I know that much for sure. Phil said Tottenham versus Brentford. First game of the season. You scum will play against us as home first as always. Well, listen, as we welcome Dan to the show, the fixtures are out Wednesday, everybody. We're going to find out. But I'll tell you what, I'm not one of those that looks at things and goes, oh, it's fixed. I don't care. You have to play everyone twice. Does it matter? You have to play everyone. When you play them, you play them. If you planned your squad properly, you're coaching properly, it is what it is. Morning, Dan. How are we doing, sir?
Morning. Just waking up with a coffee.
I love how late you wake
Same
up.
stuff. I can't help it, mate. Try taking 10 tablets before you go to bed and see how much they knock you out. It's the
Well,
waking up from them that does you.
yeah. No, I
Takes
can
about
imagine.
2
I
hours
can
to wake
imagine.
up properly.
Well, Dan, by being asleep, you've missed the opening of the transfer window. The transfer window is here, and it is very welcome. And everybody's asking the same old questions, Dan. Are we going to have a normal Spursy window, or is something different in the Tottenham Hotspur air this year?
I think with the transfers that were done, they was already done and dusted in January. I mean, Danzo was already sorted out, basically. And I think the Tell one, he came to us very questionable. And I think the whole transfer was basically on him, on whether he would stay or not. If he wants to stay, then we buy him. If he don't want to stay, then obviously he goes back to Munich. I think he's realised with us, he'll get more game time than he'll get more game time with us than he will at Munich. So he's decided Spurs would probably be the stepping stone for his career as such, if he ends up good. So that one, it is what it is. It's not a good signing that I wanted, but I think that was already done in January, same as Danzo. And now is where we see where we're going to go. Who we're going to sell, who we're going to get rid of, who we're going to bring in. Because we got to do a fair bit of everything, basically. I think we need at least 3 players for that first team. And I think there's a good 3 or 4 players we need to get rid of as well. I do think we're going to see 1 or 2, I say big, very lightly, but bigger players come in that will get into that first 11.
Let me ask you then. So I think this is a really interesting point, Dan, because I think when we all go, oh, will we get big signings? I suppose it depends on the definition for the club. So, for example, I wouldn't say that Man City signing Gurki, Reinders and Ait-Nouri would be big club signings. I think they're very good signings, but they're just normal signings. Man City signing Erling Haaland, that's a big signing, right? What's a big signing for Spurs? Is it an Mbeumo and an Eze type? Is that what we mean by big at Spurs?
Well, I'd say an Eze is a massive signing for us, not just a big signing. By our standards of the sort of player we usually go for, I'd say someone like Eze isn't even a big signing. He's a massive signing. And Mbeumo, I'd take him down a step from Eze personally. I mean, he's had an excellent season last season and he had a respectable season the season before. I'd say he's still a big signing for us. I could see us getting hold of someone who we would class as a big signing. I mean, you can go to other clubs and what's a big signing for them would be why did we even bother with that sort of thing for us or for someone else? It's each their own at the end of the day. But I do think we'll see 1 or 2 bigger signings that will get into that first 11. And it wouldn't surprise me to see a couple more youth players coming as such as well.
I said earlier in the show, I think it's all about optics from now on. Obviously, Kyle Walker-Peters as to why it makes sense as a signing. Homegrown, club trained, covers both the fullback areas.
That won't happen.
If Spurs were to announce that this week, it's the optics of putting that next to Tell, right? Where you go, hang on, what's happening? Whereas if you've signed Tell, and then in the middle of that, you've gone, okay, we bought Mbeumo and Eze, then you announce Kyle Walker-Peters, you kind of go, oh, that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's optics.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters, is that a big signing? Of course it's not. Is it even a good signing? If you want to look on the playing side, I think what's the phrase you like, meh. But with what comes with him, it's something we have to do. It's something that a lot of clubs have to do. And I wouldn't argue with him coming in, and I know certain people don't like the phrase, but back up as such, as a squad player. He can cover the left and he can cover the right just as good on both sides. Very average player overall, but then he's also got the homegrown and everything else, which the rules are the rules and you've got to have it one way or another. And if we want to go for certain other players, we have to get in players like Kyle Walker-Peters, basically. And on a freebie, why not? But it just wouldn't look great if he was the next one we brought in as well. After telling that, you'll be sitting there thinking, right, this is now looking very Spursy. Where are we going, basically? He's one that you'd sort of rather bring in and then not tell anyone about it, bring in a bigger player and then slap him in the middle sort of thing, and no one will complain.
No, mate, absolutely. But by the way, listen, as I said, I've got no problem with Kyle Walker-Peters. I think we know what that is. We know what that signing is. He can play right back. He can play left back. He's homegrown. And more importantly, he's club trained. I think it ticks a lot of boxes. I just don't want to see that that's the next thing announced. And I've got a feeling, Dan, that it will be the next thing announced. But we'll see. We'll see on that front. Look, a lot of people seem to have a problem, by the way, with Thomas Frank being on holiday. I don't understand it, Dan. I mean, listen, Spurs making signings isn't going to be dependent on the manager being on holiday. And he's a human being with a very busy life that deserves some time away from the game, isn't it? Like, why are people so bothered by it?
Well, surely he's been in the thick of all this too since the end of the season, basically.
Yeah.
And having to sort things out, everything else. And I doubt some of it has been able to be sorted out over the phone. You got to be face to face and whatever else and sign your contracts and everything else. He's on holiday. So are some of the players still. Let them go and have their holiday while they can. What would you rather do? Have a manager who comes in or a player that comes in and he's already half burnt out because he's had no rest? Or a manager or a player that's gone and had a holiday and come in fresh and ready and up for the game, basically? He's probably got his list of players that he's written down that he would like. Whether he gets them or not is a different story. But then he's not the one who goes and buys them, is he? He's not the one who goes and makes the deals. He's not the one who goes and makes the contracts and the rules and that. So if he writes down his list of, if you can get me this, please do it, and gives it to Levy or whoever else does it and that, let them get on with their job and piss off on holiday. Have a good holiday, mate.
Yeah, I do think that people put far too much importance on the manager when negotiating. The manager might have to jump on the phone, sell a project, right? If we're going to use that word, I get it. But let's be fair, most of it's going to already be, is the player interested? Yeah, let's have the chat, blah, blah, blah. And then the intermediaries and the agents and the club do it. It's not going to be Thomas Frank, front, right and centre, for getting a deal over the line. But look, I think it's going to be interesting. I think we've got to realise as well that the players are away now for 4 weeks? I think they've got 4 weeks off, if I'm not wrong. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what.
So why can't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure what people want him to be doing at the training ground. Like, he's at the training ground where there's no players or staffing. But
I'm sure while he's on holiday as well, he's having his think and he's having a look at a few things and writing out a few pages for himself on what he's got intended. And now I'm sure he's got his plan. I very much doubt the managers in his position at the moment would just go on holiday and wipe everything off. Mate, I'd say maybe 75% of the holiday will keep it to him and his family, but there's going to be that 20-25% where I bet he's still sitting there having a think and working a few things out. Who knows?
Mate, let's be fair. 99% of us go on holiday and everyone checks their work emails. Everyone's constantly in contact back at home. I should think for a Premier League manager, you never switch off. I'm guessing as much as they try to, I'm guessing their wives probably hate it. And I'm guessing that their phone is going to be going all day, buzzing, this agent, that agent, the club secretary, the club press, the club this, Daniel Levy, Paratici. I'm guessing it's just going to be one constant ping, 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 ping. So I'm not bothered by this. I think I want everyone to go away, get refreshed. Players have the month off. They haven't got a tournament this year. I think the only ones that will be at tournaments will be the under-21s. So I think the likes of Gray's at a tournament, Odebur and Tell are at tournaments. Other than that, I think if ever a club needed a bit of a reset, a bit of a go and have your 4, 5, 6 weeks holiday, it's this club. So I'm not bothered by.
Of course it is.
Yeah, big up Phil. Said if you evaluate where we are as a club right now, Eze and Mbeumo are statement signings for a club as it stands. I think that's true. I think we all sit here and talk about, go and buy this bloke from, Barcelona. Yeah, but we're not that club right now. We're not that club. We need to build and grow, almost like what Poch did. You look at Poch's signings, the likes of Alderweireld, the likes of Alderweireld, the likes of Son. That's what we need. We need solid players that come in, do a job, and then we go bigger, right? Isn't that how it works? Bit of an evolution.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's that phrase rebuild. What are we actually rebuilding? Well, what we got to rebuild on now is we've got one advantage right now that Poch never had, if I remember right, and that's that we're in the Champions League. But the other disadvantage that comes with it is the fact that we finished 17th. And the way Ange dragged us down that low has totally damaged us well and truly with getting bigger players in. Now, someone like Mbeumo, they can look at Spurs, I think, and say, right, they finished 17th. I don't like that. But the manager I've now got in now, I've got faith in because he's played with him for a certain amount of time. And they've got Champions League. I've never played Champions League, and he's not going to do it this season with Man U either. And I think you could also look on that with a player like Eze as well, depending who else goes in for him. But then there's going to be bigger players than that we might go for that are going to look at it and say, okay, Champions League, I've already done Champions League. They finished 17th. I'm not going near that.
Yeah.
So the Champions League has given us an advantage to an extent, but that 17th, I think, has done more damage for us than the Champions League has done good for us in bringing players in. They're both going to have their ups and downs. But I think that 17th is going to do us a lot of damage on certain players that would have come to us if we'd have finished 8th or even 10th.
No, I absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I've got this feeling, right? When we talk across this fan base, have you noticed that for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, every single name has been the same? We're like picking from a pot of about 6 footballers, Dan. It's Xavi Simons, Mbeumo, Eze, Semenyo, Grealish, and it was Tell. Do you just get a feeling that none of those are going to be what we actually go for? We're just going to be like completely left field transfer targets.
I don't see why we can't go for them, but it's just one of those things that I think just time will tell, basically, in that aspect. I don't see why we can't go for players like that. I mean, Mbeumo, the question is with him, is he going to come to us and the main attraction be Thomas Frank and Champions League, or is he going to go to Man U and the main attraction be the size of Man United, whether they're crap or not, they're still the biggest club on the planet or second biggest club, and they're also going to be paying nearly double the wages that we are. You're going to have those questions with it. But I can't see why we can't go for players like Eze and Mbeumo. They're bigger players, but they're not massive players. They're not world-class players. I mean, Eze, very good player, walk into our club and that, but I don't see a lot of other clubs going for him either at the moment, or last season either. I'd say he's a player of our club size as such.
Yeah, what do you make of this, Lubo? Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
Breaking news on Sky Sports. I always see the black and yellow bar and go, is it going to be Tottenham? I don't think it is. Lubo, good morning. We're just saying that for the last sort of 3 weeks, a lot of the talk is we're constantly hearing the same names, aren't we? Mbeumo, Eze, Semenyo. It feels like Xavi Simons. Are these all diversions, or are these just names that fans are praying for, and the club are actually probably looking over here, a bit of the old magic and misdirection?
Listen, we always pick up players that no one's expecting. Yeah, somebody will come out. Oh, didn't hear anything about him. There's always a surprise. So for me, I'm expecting the same. You know, who knows who? You know, Parisi actually says, didn't he, that he sticks so many plates. He has so many plates spinning, and one of them drops.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he has 5, 6 players for every one that he buys, and if he's going to buy 4, then he's got 24 on the go. So there's going to be plenty that we don't know about. So I'm quite relaxed. They'll get on with it. I'm sure they'll pick up players.
Are you relaxed? Does it feel different? Does it feel different?
It does feel different. It does feel different. Listen.
What's different?
It
I'm not disagreeing with you. Just asking, what's different?
Listen, I've just come out of a mad 2 years, watching Spurs week after week, just rip wide open, missing out on players. So for me, listen, I haven't changed my way of thinking. Frank can only get us up to a certain ceiling until we get new owners. But while these owners are in, let's hope Frank can get us up to, I don't know, 4th, you know, and I can enjoy some football and see some winning football over the next season. That's all. You know, we've dropped down to 17th. I think we've got a. For me, I'm more interested in how we do in the Premier League this year. You know, the Champions League. If we get to the last 16, it's been a bonus. We are way off the top teams. They're on another planet. So to me, it's about getting the players in that can sustain a really good league season. And as I said last night, let's build step by step. Let's have a good Premier League season. Let's be around the top 5 or 6, maybe top 4. Who knows? And go from there.
Let me ask you then, guys. Like, are we in danger of a fan base where we've been so hurt, right? Where we've been so traumatized that whatever player we bring in now, we're going to find underwhelming and going to find an issue with? Because one of the things I think we loosely touched upon this last night is, you know, if Frank turns around and says, I want Norgard, I want Hillman from Sporting Lisbon, I want these types of players. Aren't we in danger of, if the individual fan doesn't like them as a player, that we'll just chuck that blame on Paratici or Lang or Levy, rather than maybe thinking, well, does Frank want that player? Isn't there that danger that we could fall into that trap?
Are we all guilty of jumping too quickly, far too quickly? You know, I'm involved on WhatsApp groups about, Frank's to blame. He's brought Telly in. Hang on a second. He's not even started. You know, is he starting work today, Frank? You know,
no, he's on holiday. He's
still on holiday. Okay.
Right now, Thomas Frank sitting in a sunbed somewhere with a pina colada, looking at his wife, going, "Yeah, we just had a pay rise. I've just gone to a bigger club, and don't worry, love. In 2 years' time, I'll probably get a £10 million payout." He's living the dream, mate. He's living the dream. I'm jealous.
Can we not wait and see what happens? How he coaches the team, how he improves the team. I think we'll have an iffy first half of the season. As he gets his systems learnt by the players, we're going to have some up and down results, and I think the second half of the season will be much better. So, yeah, you know, and if we can be top half, be there or thereabouts, near to the top 6 by Christmas, and go on a run after Christmas, you never know where Spurs will finish up. But I think, you know, we just got to. For me, it's a clean slate. We had 2 mad years. I've never seen 2 years like this ever in following Spurs for 60. Never, ever seen anything like this before in my life, ever.
It's been a long 2 years, isn't it, Lou? But it feels like a very long... Even without Europe last year, it just felt like it was never-ending doom and...
It was... The first year was a strange one, because he started off well and he got 26 from the first 10. Then he got 10 from the next 9. So we dipped with the injuries, suspensions. Players were starting to come back and we dipped. Then players came back and we had a run against clubs that weren't top 6. And we got 20 points from the next 10. So everybody became enthusiastic again. And then we started playing the Newcastles, the Liverpools, the Cities, the Arsenals towards the back end of the season. And you could see again, we got 10 points from the last 9. And that was mirrored this year by the fact that he couldn't beat the top teams. So it was consistent. Although the previous year was up and down, although the previous year was up and down and we finished up 5th with 66 points, it literally was. We had a great start and then it was down, then up and then down again. And we finished up 5th. That form, unfortunately, was taken, that inconsistent form was taken into this season with no 10 games and 26 points, and we never got started. And unfortunately, we had Romero, Vicario, and Van der Ven all injured long term within 2 weeks, between City with Vicario and Chelsea with the other 2, and it all just fell apart. The whole thing just fell apart, and you know, I don't believe that Ange threw the league. I just don't believe. Levy would not have allowed it, because if Levy's paying him 100 grand a week, so he's paying him 100 grand a week to pick and choose. what games he's going to play. Do me a favour. No employer would say that's okay. Don't worry. You carry on earning. I'll keep giving you $100,000 a week. But I don't. It doesn't matter. This week doesn't matter. You can put your feet up. We can lose again.
Yeah.
It's
only Chelsea midweek. It's only a London derby against bitter rivals. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So
I still disagree with that. I mean, I don't think Levy ever told him throw the league, basically, as in forget about it. I just think Levy told him you make that Europa Cup your priority because that is our only chance of getting Champions League. I just think when Levy said it, he didn't expect Ange to be as crap as he was and finish 17th. That's what I
just don't think there was any conversation, Dan. I feel like we think that there's a bigger relationship there than there was. I think that Ange would have taken it upon himself to focus on the Europa League because he knew it. He knew that was the only chance of hanging on to his job.
I can believe either way. I can believe either side.
Yeah.
But I do think there was a talk there, and I do think Levy had a good think if we work out how Levy works, and we're starting to see that no, he hasn't changed. But last season he had changed, and he'd done everything completely out of sync to what Levy usually does. So for me, something definitely happened up there, whether it was in Levy's mind or whether it was both of them. I think Levy had to make that decision of, right, I want Champions League. Club needs Champions League. I want Champions League money, but club also needed Champions League for other people to make installments and whatever else. That Champions League was probably more important to us this season for other reasons apart from football than it has been for a long time. So I think that Levy has sat there and looked at it and said, the only chance I've got of Champions League, even if I bring in a new manager, is that Europa Cup. And the big decision he had to make is, right, do I stick with Ange to get me this Europa Cup? Or do I get in another manager, sack Ange now? What manager can I get in at the middle of the season? This and that and everything else. And I do think he sat down and said with Ange, like, basically, the only reason I ain't sacking you now and you've got a chance to rescue your name as such, do what you can in the league and the cups. But the one you focus on more than anything is that Europa Cup because we need the Champions League. And like I said, I just don't think Levy thought that Ange would be that bad that he'd actually get a 17th.
Can I tell you what I don't understand? You know, when we say focused on the Europa Cup, I still don't know what that means. By focused on the Europa Cup.
Right, Sav.
Okay, I'll give you the answer to that one quickly. I'll give you the answer to that.
The answer's simple, Dan. He probably had the same conversation he had with Jose. I need Champions League football. What he probably didn't expect is for Ange to take him so literally.
Either way, I can agree with that. But what I mean by focus on Europa Cup, right? 2 games before the final, we had this big debate on here, and I had it on other shows where I said these games are irrelevant. This Palace game and this Villa game, they're irrelevant. What are they going to do? Get us 15th place? Great. And then we all had this debate about every game matters, this and that. No, it didn't. The league was done and dusted. Yes, it should. We all know that. Every game should matter, this and that. Every game should matter. But really, when you go for the priority of it, the priority for us was winning that Europa Cup to get in that Champions League and rescue it.
But that's
maybe not. But he got more out of it that way. That is what I mean by focusing. What Ange blatantly did was focus on the Europa Cup there. Because he left the players out for the 2 games, and we complained about it.
Hang on. You do realise if we had won just 2 extra games this season, Daniel Levy would have made an extra £12 million in league positions. Right?
And if we'd have won those 2 games and got injuries and not won that Europa Cup, how much would he have lost?
Hang on, but we had injuries and still won it. So there's nothing to say that if we had injuries, we wouldn't have won it, right? We had injuries and we won it. This isn't about 2 games, though. This always changes from January. It started in February. It was the last 10 games. Look, if we had won 2 extra games, right? 2 extra games, we would have got 12 million. If we'd won 4 extra games, we would have made an extra 15 million pounds. There's no way Daniel Levy has said to this guy, just don't worry about it. There's no way.
I don't think he said don't worry about it. He just said prioritise on that cup.
Sure. When we're saying prioritising, I don't understand. Look at the teams we played. What did you have to prioritise? Like, I don't. Hang on. We played Chelsea. Why did he put out the best team then? If we're not prioritising the league game against Chelsea, Why did we go hell for leather and put out our best team against Nottingham Forest if we were prioritising the Europa? It just it seems very convenient that because we were crap in the league, all the excuses are now that, we didn't prioritise. I just genuinely think, guys, we were just shit in the league. We genuinely were playing better teams in the Premier League, right? That knew how to play against Ange. And for me, all of this we prioritised. I don't think we did at all. We put 10 men behind the ball against Frankfurt, put 10 men behind the ball against Man United. If that's prioritising, look, but, that's here nor there,
I can believe either side of it. And the fact that like what you said, look how Palace played before they cup. They still put their full team out there. Look at how we played 2 games before the cup. We hardly put our first team out there. And that's what I mean by prioritise, basically. I mean, I'm not saying that Levy ever said to him, throw the league completely. I just think Levy got the shock of his life that Ange maybe even took it too serious, what he said, or just blatantly was that crap that he got 17th. For me, I can look on all 3 of those circumstances and believe all 3 of them. It's something we're never going to know. But Ange needed that Europa Cup more than anything to rescue his career, basically, if he's even got one left anymore, if he decides to quit or whatever else. I mean, I've heard he's got an offer off of Scotland. That would definitely suit him down to a T. And that was to save him. It was to save Levy. It was to save the club. That Europa Cup was so important for us that it was more important than finishing 14th or 15th and making an extra 9 million than it was otherwise, basically. Because it has given us that chance now of, like we said earlier, of certain players that would look at us and say Champions League and come to us. Whereas if we wouldn't have got that Champions League and just finished 17th, we wouldn't have. We'd be lucky if we get any bloody players in there that are over 18, for God's sake. Yeah, exactly. Whereas we're in the Champions League now, like I said earlier, Eze and Mbeumo, big players, but not massive players, not world-class players for other clubs, are going to look at it and go, okay, they finished 17th, but they are in Champions League. I do want Champions League. Whereas bigger players than that are going to say, I've already been in the Champions League and they finished 17th. I ain't touching them with a barge pole, basically.
This just quickly, I want to show you something, guys, right? Which I think completely defeats this point that Levy has ever had this chat with him. First of all, I agree. Definitely, Main. I completely agree with you. What about all those weeks when there were no Europa games and Spurs were still losing week in, week out in the Premier League? There was no European games to focus on. It just feels like a very, very easy excuse. But I'm going to show you this. Right? I've just had to trawl through the Spurs website to get this, right? Again, I'm sorry. That bit there that is highlighted tells me that Daniel Levy has not at any point agreed to any of this. Read it, right? Following a positive start, we recorded 78 points from 66 Premier League games. This tells me that at no point has Daniel Levy ever conveyed that this is okay, that this is... I'm sorry, guys. I just can't... We know Daniel Levy. I'm just... Listen,
okay.
Their own. I'd love to hear from Daniel Levy or Ange in future books or whatever. I fail to believe Daniel Levy has ever turned around and said, I need that. Don't worry so much about the league. Because Daniel Levy's all about the money. Hence why he's been sacked.
If it was that important to him, then why didn't he get rid of Ange when we not basically fallen but had jumped off a cliff? Then he should have got rid of him there if the league was that important to him. I would have thought.
As we said, look at the clean sweep he's having in this summer. Everyone's going and starting at the same time.
And maybe
couldn't he have got him out and got a part-time manager in who could have done better?
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is the thing.
Or did he have that bit of faith? Or did he have that little bit of faith in Ange that Ange wouldn't be that bad?
But this is where you've got to ask yourself the question. First and foremost, right? You have to ask yourself this question: if Tottenham Hotspur are having a clean sweep in the summer, the board and the owners aren't going to want to do anything mid-season. They're not going to want to do anything. They're going to want to do it all in one foul swoop, aren't they? They're going to want to do it all in one foul swoop. They're not going to want to do it mid. It's like I said this from the moment we signed, we heard the Vinay news, said it now makes sense. Up until that point, Dan, I said, I can't believe he's not been sacked. It was only when we announced Vinay where I said, I truly believe we're having a clean sweep now. And let's be fair, other than Lang, it has been a clean sweep, hasn't it? Everyone's gone. So for me, I think that's why. Look, at the end of the day, either or, as we know, it's not been good enough to keep him his job, right? It's not been good enough. For Daniel Levy, it's been good enough to get him X amount of money for Champions League. But we move forward. Yeah. And yes, Reezy, you can drop from 5th to 17th without pivoting your focus. Your man just showed you how it's done. He can't win games of football, mate. But I just think, listen, for me, I would have agreed with this notion that he focused all on the Europa League if the last 10 to 12 games of the Premier League season, Ajayi was playing every week on the right. Right? If Gray was playing every week centre mid, if Mikey Moore was playing every week left wing, if Kinski was playing every game in goal. Didn't do any of that. Didn't do any of that, did he? And like when we're saying, oh, he didn't play our best team, yeah, but he was still putting out Jed Spencer, who's a first team player. He was still putting out Bissouma, who's a first team player. Still putting out Sarr, who's a first team player. Maddison's a first team player. Solanke was playing in those games, first team player. Brennan Johnson. So if he wasn't concentrating, why didn't we see the youth? Why did we not see the youth?
He had to, because the players wouldn't have put up with that. And also, they still need match fitness as well.
So it's all a bit convenient.
So he's got to work it round. He's got to work it round in that aspect. I mean, for me, he wasn't good enough, end of, and he had to go. No ifs or buts, whatever he focused on, whatever. But he couldn't have gone 10 games with just playing, say, 9 out of the 11 players being the B team, basically, because the other lot wouldn't have put up with that. Plus, like I said, they need match fitness as well. So he possibly had to work around it. Whatever it was, at the end of the day, he wasn't good enough. He had to go and he's gone. Any one of what I have said, you have said, or Ian have said, I think is a believable situation.
Sure.
And with how Daniel Levy works, for me, the fact that he didn't get rid of him in January, I said after then, surely he's got to have some sort of plan after this. Surely he's got to, because if he would have been as interested in that league as that Europa Cup, I think Levy would have got rid of him. I'm not saying Levy didn't want as high in the league as he could. I'll go back to what I said. I just don't think, I think Levy made the decision, right, Ange, I'll keep you. Focus on that Europa Cup. Do what you can in the league. And I just don't think he expected Ange to end up dragging us into 17th, basically. He might have looked at it and thought, Ange can get us 8th or 10th, maybe, sort of thing. And I'm still going to sack him at the end of the day because he's not good enough. I just don't. I think Levy had the shock of his life when we ended up.
I do. Yeah. Dan, we got 19 points from the first 12 games in the league. And then we got 19 for the next 26.
You know, it was already crashed. The league was already done in that aspect of having a chance of getting Champions League place in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Levy knew that if he wanted as much in that league as he possibly could, surely Levy would have seen that Ange just ain't doing this. Like he did at the end of the season when he just basically dumped him after we'd just won a cup. So we all know that Levy's got the mentality to do that all day long.
Oh, yeah.
So why didn't he do it in January? Okay, if he had this long system plan ahead and everything, which I agree he did, he must have. Was it easier to keep? And did he even go for Thomas Frank and speak to him in January, February, or whatever? And Frank said, okay, I'm game, but I ain't leaving till the end of the season. We just don't know what went behind the lines. And then maybe he just sat there and said, okay, I'm going to have to wait until the end of the season before I go for my new manager or whatever else. It could have been, there's so many stories you can put to this that I think are believable. Some more than others, obviously.
Listen, he could, that could be a case. He quite possibly, you know, that they both looked at it. I believe Levy told Ange, you know, I need Champions League football. Because he said the same to Jose. He probably said the same to Conte and every manager.
And there was only one way we was doing it.
Correct. But I think Levy probably got a shock when he saw Spurs that low.
Yeah. I don't think Levy was expecting that. I think Levy was expecting Ange to focus on the cup like he was told to, but obviously still get an 8th in the league 12th, or whatever.
Maybe 11th.
I'd say between 8th and 10th. He was just not expecting a 17th. I don't think there was many of us was expecting a 17th. I said round about January. I said, what was it? December, January. If this fella don't go, we're going to be in a relegation battle, basically. And the only reason it wasn't an official relegation battle is because the bottom 3 was that crap. Technically, you could say we was in a relegation battle place, being 16th, 17th, 15th.
True.
But the others were just that poor. It didn't actually turn into a relegation battle as such. If one of them would have been slightly better than what they were, then we would have been looking over our shoulders a hell of a lot more in a proper relegation battle. I just don't think Levy see that one coming a mile off, and I don't think many of us.
Well, you've said it, Lubo, haven't you? You've said it. He's had this year. Levy's had a shock of his life.
Yeah.
Like, let's be fair. As much as we want to get on at him, he has not provided a manager with a 17th place squad. Whatever we say,
not for 21 years.
17th place squad.
And that was 14th or 15th, I think, in 2004. But not since then. We haven't been that low in 21 seasons. So yes, and in between those 21 seasons, we've reached Madrid. So that's an even further way to fall. Longer distance to fall. So for me, I think the owner's got a shock. I think the whole thing also regarding bringing Peter Charrington in, bringing Vinay in. I think, Spurs, Rothschild's Bank have been trying for a year to get outside investment into Spurs without success. So I'm sure Lewis probably looked at that and thought, hold on a second, this isn't working. As you would if you're in business. We tried for a year, it hasn't worked. What are we going to do to change it? I've got to make changes.
Do you think if he'd have finished 8th, let's say between 8th and 10th, do you think Ange would have actually kept his job?
Yes.
Quite possibly, yeah.
I think so as well. So again, I think Levy said to him, focus on the cup, get what you can in the league, and could have almost been expecting him to still finish 8th or 10th, which for me was more than capable of doing, basically, because I still say Ryan Mason could have got us to the final in that bloody Europa Cup. And I mean, it was at the point in the last 3 games where he even admitted in one of them that the players had to tell him how to basically play. That's it, Gaffer. I don't think sticking 10 men in front of the ball is going to work in this Europa. Maybe we stick 10 men behind the ball. Yeah, that's what I think happened there. And again, I just think Levy got the shock of his life when, like a lot of people, when we ended up 17th. If he'd have finished 8th or 10th, I think he would have at least kept his job for another 6 months.
Dan, to finish 8th or 10th, he would have what that would have meant was Spurs would have won 6 to 7 more league games, and we would have lost 7 to 8 to 10 less league games. Right now, no one would be going, oh my God, we lost 22 games. Oh, we're 17th. Oh, we've only won 11 games. We would have won loads more at home. We would have won more away, lost less at home, and everything starts balancing out. And then you can go, okay, we had some injuries, finished mid-table, won a Europa League. Boom. But it's the narrative for me of, why do we care that we finished 17th? I mean, well, where's the pride? Like, can we have just a degree of pride in the fan base? 17th is just mad. But
I think the other thing also is that from after beating Ipswich, we only beat Southampton in the last 12 games.
Mad, isn't it?
And we only drew with Bournemouth and West Ham. We lost the other 9. So when you're looking at the final 12 games of the season, you've got 5 points. And we're pretty much bottom of the table for form. He's looking at it, and how does a manager survive at any club with that record?
No, agreed. Well, look, let's move on from Ange. I didn't really want to talk about Angepostecoglou, but listen, we've talked about this a lot, Dan and Lou both talked about it a lot as well. It's who said that the new manager coming in now, has he got a difficult job or an easy job? And what I mean by that is, I think it's an easy job because I don't think any other manager in world football gets a 17th. I genuinely don't. But I think it's a hard job because there's so much support for Ange and the way that it's happened and he's gone. And that trophy win is now being used as the benchmark for every manager. Like in year 1, it's going to be, he finished 6th. Yeah, he didn't win a trophy. Is this almost an impossible job? For Frank,
listen. Any fan who judges Frank on that benchmark should give their head a wobble. When we've won 3 trophies in 34 years, so before people start getting carried away with we won a trophy, 3 in 34 years. Think about that before people start judging Frank on a trophy. I think Frank will embrace it. When the Spurs go marching in 11:38, I do agree with him. I think where he put Frank has already an in-depth knowledge of our squad. The fact that Bissouma could well be going to Fenerbahce proves that to me, because if Frank didn't have that in-depth knowledge, then I don't think Frank would be allowing anybody to go at this stage. I think he will already know his best formation with this squad. He spent 4 years studying Premier League. Absolutely. I fully agree with you. I think Frank has gone through all the videos. He's seen everybody. He's weighed up. He knows. Listen, he's played against our players for the last couple of years. Some of them for longer. He will know exactly the quality, the level, the standard of our squads, and he'll know who he doesn't want, and he'll know who he does want. And it's going to take him 3 or 4 windows to put into place who he does want. Because remember, we don't splash money around like Man City. Yeah. So he's got to duck and dive. He's got to be a little bit clever, and he'll get there. That's why this season, for me, first half of the season will be, you have some funny results. Second half of the season, I think we will do a bit like Chelsea with Poch. I think Poch went in there, got it sorted first half of the season, and had a great run in the second half. I think we'll be the same. You know, Champions League, anything we get in that is a bonus. I'm not looking on, you know, for us. Yes, factually, you're right. We are a Champions League team. At the moment, you know, based on last season, do we have the quality? Should we be judged as a Champions League team? Not really. Not based on last season's form, which is the criteria for everybody going in. We're the only team who's finished 17th in their league who's going to be in the Champions League this season, out of 36. All the others would have finished top 4, 5, whatever,
and lost 22 and not got relegated as well.
Absolutely. So that's right.
I think he's got a. It's a very 50-50 job he's got here compared to what Ange had. You all know my opinion on that. Because all he had to do was kick the ball forward, and he won over 90% of the fan base in 2 games. He's kicking the ball forward. We're seeing positive attacking football, which it looked at the time, and it turned out it very much wasn't. And because everyone was just so sick of pragmatic, stick everything behind the ball, counter-attacking football, which we barely had the players to do that either, except Son and Kane up front, basically, doing the long ball to them. And people just had enough. In the same aspect, I think Frank is going to have an extremely hard side on him, where there's a lot of Ange lovers still out there. He won a cup, he should never have gone, this and that. Still will claim that Ange's football was more type of the Spurs philosophy as much. I'd rather we lose 6-3 and be attacking than scrimp and scrape 1-0. It's not Spurs philosophy. We don't do that. And then they all shut up and disappear when we go through 3 of the dirtiest games we've ever had in the Europa Cup. Sticking 11 men behind the ball, basically. And then they all wind their neck in and be quiet and then big it up afterwards that Ange done a brilliant job. Well, hang on a minute. That's not the Spurs philosophy. Make your bloody mind up. And he's going to have a big part of that on him, because I don't think his type of football, I've seen him play about 5 different formations, is going to be part of this so-called BS Spurs philosophy thing. I don't care about philosophy, just win the bloody game. And he's going to have a lot of fans on his case who still love Ange off. He's also going to have a lot of people judging him if he doesn't win a cup or whatever else and that. But then on the other side, I think there's going to be a lot of fan base that are willing to back him up and just see some stability in the team, which I know a lot of people aren't liking the phrase, but stability is in that we're actually a hard team to beat now, or a significantly harder team to beat. That you actually go into a game with a bit of confidence that we're not going to get slapped up 3-4-0 sort of thing. That you go into it with a bit of confidence. We can play someone, I know Southampton's not in it, but when we played Southampton, we sit there with that magic word again at Spurs, we should be beating Southampton. And we're still looking over our shoulder. Whereas I think with Frank, we can now sit here and say, yeah, we will be beating Southampton. 90% chance we should definitely be doing them. Not we should be beating Southampton, but knowing how incapable Ange was and the team was at the time, you could quite easily believe that we'd have got beaten 2-0 by Southampton at the same time. So in that aspect, in one way, as all he has to do is add the stability to the club, get us working again, show that there's progress on the players, where he's only, I say only, he's got to get the players back to their standards before he even has to get them playing better, basically, which I think is an easier job than making players better than what they are as such. And he's going to be very 50-50 for him. You're going to see a lot that are going to give him stick all the way through it, but then there's going to be a lot of people who are just happy that they can watch Spurs play again and not just be totally embarrassed by the manager and the club. I think he's also going to be significantly better when it comes to a press conference as well, and not shoot himself in the back of the head, let alone the feet, as many times as Ange did.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I think we're really stuck in this juxtaposition, Lubo, between fans that just say we just want to win things after only winning one trophy in 17 years, that now seem to think we're going to win a trophy every year, versus them not understanding why league position is important. And I've never known it. I've never seen so many fans say things like they'd be happy with bottom half every year in a trophy. I've never known it. It feels odd. Everyone now going, oh, you sacked the man that won the trophy. You sacked the winner. And it's like, yeah, but the anomaly is finishing bottom half, Lubo, and winning a trophy. That's not the norm. It's not like you can sit there every year and go, we plan to finish bottom half and win a trophy. I just don't know whether some of these people are ever going to give Thomas Frank a chance. I really don't, Lubo. I just don't get it.
Do you know what? So it actually doesn't matter if they don't, to be honest, because Frank will get on with it. The club will get on with it, and these fans will come. You know, they'll see at the end of the day the fans want Spurs to do well, and they'll come round and they'll see Frank's doing a good job, and they'll come round to, you know, to supporting him, because at the end of the day, we support the team. We don't support a manager. Yeah. If you're only at the club because you support a manager, then for me, sling your hook. You're not a proper fan. We don't need fans like you. So for me, you know, I love Pochettino. I was gutted when he left. Didn't stop me supporting the club.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. There's too many. I'm seeing people go round now, and literally everything is Frank's terrible because they loved Ange. I don't know why the two have to be connected. Surely you can still love Ange, but support the new manager. I don't understand why. You know, at least wait until the manager's given you a reason not to. You know, at least with Ange, I supported him at first and then was like, nah, right? At least let that happen with Frank. And I agree with you, Lubo. I think that this is going to be a difficult first half of the season. I think he's got a lot to do to change the ethos, the tactics, the confidence of footballers. You know, he's got to implement tactics for players that have been able to get away with whatever they want for 2 years, haven't they? They've been able to look at Jed Spence's interview.
Yeah.
We play like that. No matter what happens, we play like that, and the manager doesn't tell us off. Brilliant. I want a manager telling them off.
I did say this on the shows, you know, the performances, I blamed Levy for bringing in people like Munn and Ange. I blamed Ange for his kamikaze tactics. And I've been fairly consistent last season. For me, even if the players have been left wide open, they are making individual errors, unforced individual errors, that players of that ability should not have been making.
Great.
So for me, they're all to blame. The whole thing was a complete shambles from top to bottom. Hopefully next year, unfortunately, Levy's still there. I don't know how long we're going to have to live with that. Normally, chairmen don't stay anywhere near 25 years at a football club, unless you're Real Madrid or Barcelona. But, you know, it's a clean sweep pretty much. And we've got a new manager in who will coach us. You know, thank you, Ange, for giving us Bilbao. I'm sure the players basically, you know, they looked at it and they all. When you look at Maddison and Son on the bench at Alkmaar, and for me that was the low point of the season, particularly if you're stuck in Holland and you're watching an absolute pile of shit with no effort and just nothing, they were completely clueless. And I honestly think that after that game, I think the senior players went to Ange and said, look, this isn't working. We're 13th, 14th in the league, so you can see from the league position it's not working. You need to compromise, and if he compromised, then okay. He's not as intransigent as he had been up to then, but I'm sure the players actually said, you know, we've got to do it a different way, and he did, and he threw his entire philosophy in the bin to win that trophy, because it was all about it's who we are, mate. This is it. You know, 11 up, you know, playing 9 on the halfway line against Chelsea. That's who we are. So, you know, normally any manager would just sit the team on the 18-yard box and defend like stink.
Yeah.
But no, that's what Ange did. He changed. We won a trophy, and hopefully Frank can now take us on to the next step.
I mean, for me, this is where I struggle Pardon me. This is where I struggle to understand what you call backing a club. I mean, for me, backing my club is I support Tottenham Hotspur. I don't support FC or Conte FC or Son FC, Kane FC, Romero FC. I've said it a million times. I could not care less about the managers or the players, what they get up to in their private life, what they get up to in the... I don't care. I just want them to get on that pitch and play and win for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, the club I back and support. I don't have to back or support or like a way a manager plays or the results he's getting just because he's at Tottenham Hotspur. And I do mean just because he's there. Why have I got to get behind a manager and back him and say, yes, I want him at this club, I want him this and that, when he's losing 4 out of 5 games twice in a season or getting defeated 22 times and playing terrible football? Why have I got to like a player and the way he plays because he plays at Spurs? I haven't. If Timo Werner would have gone and scored a hat-trick in that final, for instance, what do we now get behind Timo Werner and he's got to stay due to morals because he scored us the hat-trick and won the game as such? Like a lot of people tried being morally correct and Ange deserves a chance. I say just lightly, but just because he won that cup. That is where I think we're far too sentimental, basically. And
damn, we're going.
I want what is best for the club.
Damn, we're going.
Bromley, it's just round the corner.
Spurs are playing Bromley in pre-season at Bromley. We're going.
I want what is best for the club. So I couldn't give a shit. I couldn't care less about the manager, whatever and that, whether he stays or goes and that. I'm not backing the manager. I'm backing the club. And I want what is best for the club. And Ange is not what is best for that club. Werner is not what is best for that club. Do I now have to like the manager and like the player and the way they play and what's happening and just stand there blind, basically, backing them because they're at Tottenham? Well, no, I don't. You know, someone you love, do you back them fully blindly? Or do you try and help them out, basically, if they're doing something wrong and you think they're doing wrong? Like I said, I do not support the managers or players. I support the club. Any one of them can come and go as they please. I couldn't care less. As long as they play on the day for the club that I support, that's all I back and care about.
No, right. So, will you hold that on screen? Because I've got Danny's 12 o'clock comment here. Exactly the point. 3 trophies in 34 years. You need more trophies to claim to be a top club. That part I agree. We're a big club. We're not a top elite club like a lot of the others who win regular trophies. Fully agree with that point. Pity you set the sole reason for your latest trophy and how long again? Danny, if you've got somebody who is going to take us, quite possibly take us down the following season, he doesn't have the safety net of a Europa League competition. We've struggled badly. We've got 19 points from the last 26 league games. How is that any basis to keep the guy in charge for next year based on he's won a trophy? Thank you very much. But can he take us on to the next level? And that's been my main point regarding Ange after Bilbao. He quite obviously can't. He's fine up to a certain level, playing a certain level of team, which he did in the Europa, and full marks to him because that was a more prestigious trophy, obviously, than anything he won in Scotland, Japan, or Australia. But he's not capable of taking us on. He lost against the top clubs in both seasons, pretty much, apart from a few results. Our record against the top 6 was absolutely horrendous. So when you look at that and you look at the system he plays, you look at the way we get ripped apart, and are you happy with 22 league defeats in 38? Because I'm not. I was dreading him being in charge for this season, thinking, geez, I'm going to go to Old Trafford, I'm going to go to the new Everton grounds, Anfield, City, Newcastle, Sunderland, and I've got to watch this crap.
Oh.
Jesus, it's a long way home when you watch rubbish like that. I've got to tell you.
Yeah,
Ian, I feel like. Go on.
Okay, if we would have, a majority of us would have genuinely thought that this finishing 22 defeats and finishing 17th was down to injuries, was down to logical reasons and everything else, not just that Ange was a terrible manager, there'd have been significantly more people who would be able to turn a blind eye to the finishing 17th and winning the cup, basically. It's the fact for a lot of us turn here and sit here and now, okay, we've won the cup. Some lived on it for 2 days. Some are still living on it 2 weeks. Some are still going to live on it for the next 2 bloody months, 2 years, whatever. Each their own, whatever turns you on at the end of the day. Angie's football don't have that effect on me. And it was then look ahead. Right. I look ahead. Where do I see us going now? I still believe that Ange had the capability to get us relegated. That is why I wanted him out. If I would have thought that it was just that much of a mess up and there were logical reasons to it and everything else, then okay, maybe he could have got another chance or whatever. But I think a lot of us will agree and a lot will disagree on the fact that I could have seen him easily getting us relegated next season or finishing 15th or lower again next season.
Yeah.
And I'm not up for that. I didn't see him having the capability of getting us in the, let's say, top 7 and being able to have at least a cup run in the process or such. I thought he had the capability of getting us relegated, so I wanted him out.
But what would have happened, Dan, is probably very similar to what happened in 2009, after 2008, after when Ramos got sacked 8 games in. Harry pulled us back up to, I think, 11th.
8th.
Mm-hmm. Was it 8th? He did even better, I thought.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Let me check. What was that, 08, 09?
08, 09, yeah.
Yeah, so Ramos finished 11th. Harry picked us up bottom and finished 8th.
That's really good.
And then 4th.
I think it must have been 99 when we won the League Cup and finished 11th, which was great. So, we finished 8th, which again is normally outside of Europe, was this season. So you're looking at a lost season because Levy wouldn't have let Ange keep us down at the bottom for long. He would have been gone. So you've given Ange your entire transfer budget this summer. You've let him stay in charge. We started off badly again. As Levy said, 78 points from the last 66 games.
It just made no logical sense keeping him, did it?
Why would it be any different?
But doesn't that sum it up, though? For everyone saying it was a one-off season, it's not. It was 66 Premier League games. It was a hell of a lot. It was nearly 2 entire seasons of being awful, apart from 10 games in the Premier League. And the thing is, for me, again, I think this is a great comment from Chris about the difference between the moment and the future.
Yeah.
And as I said, when I speak to level-headed fans that understand that, yeah, you're not going to win a trophy every year. So at the same time as not winning a trophy, you've got to be getting better as a football club. You've got to be aiming to finish as high up the league as possible. And I've already done it a million times, shown everyone the correlation between the teams that win trophies and where they finish in the league. But yet we've still got fans going, oh, you'll never win another trophy without Ange. Well, if you had said to me that we'll never win another trophy without One Day Ramos, oh, we'll never win another trophy without George Graham. We'll never win another trophy without Terry Venables. It's nonsense. Of course we will win other trophies. What these people mean is immediately. And yeah, this year, I think it's going to be bloody hard to win a trophy, guys. We're not winning the Champions League. We're not winning the Premier League. And the FA Cup and League Cup, again, are all based on luck. Let's be brutally honest, who you get. And yeah, we could do. But again, we were in 4 competitions this year. Last year, everyone's saying, oh, we couldn't possibly win the Europa League without throwing the league. But yet everyone now this season expects Ange to finish high up the league, give the Champions League a good go, and win a cup. So the same people saying that we had to throw the league to win a Europa League are now expecting double standards from Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
So now Thomas Frank can suddenly do 4 tournaments, and you're like, whoa, hang on. So I think people need to be a little bit level-headed and really need to understand that if you want to be a better club that has a chance of attracting better players, that makes more money to attract better players and pay better wages, you've got to finish high up the table. This is just the basics of football, right? The higher you finish up the table, the more money you make, the more chance you've got of Europe, the better your team, the better signings you bring in, the more chance you've got of winning trophies. But we've got fans going, nah, just finish bottom half.
To give an analogy of how a big club behaves, although it's not a manager, we're talking about a player, and the analogy is fair because Chelsea reached the European final the same as us. Sancho scored a wonderful goal. They're getting rid of him. They obviously appreciated what he did in that final against Betis, but his performance over the season didn't warrant them making the loan permanent.
Of course.
So at the end of the day, we've done the same with Ange.
Yep. Loads of clubs do it.
Yeah.
Loads of clubs win stuff, get rid of their managers. But we're just so starved of success that people are going, you do that. Well, quite clearly, the chairman has told you 66 games, 78 points is utterly disgusting. You can throw whatever excuse you want. You can throw injuries. You can throw lack of form. You can throw squad size. 78 points from 66 games. I don't know another Spurs manager that's done that bad.
No.
Answers on a postcard.
No.
He had to go. So for me, I think people need to move on from it. To be fair, us as well. Talking about it, I think people need to move on from it. We've now got Thomas Frank, but people need to realise that it might not be that we start the season, oh my God, we're third after 15 games. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of work to do. There's going to be a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a new system, new tactics, new ethos, new voice to listen to. He's going to have to sort out the injury-prone players. You know, so I think there's a lot to do. Lot to do.
I don't think Pep won a trophy in his first season, did he?
No, and he finished third, fourth?
Fourth, I think. Third or fourth. And I don't think did Klopp win a trophy? I don't think he won a trophy in his first season either.
No, I think he got to. I think didn't he get to 2 finals in his first year? If I might be making that up. Pretty sure he got to 1. Did he get to 2 in his first year?
I can't think. They played Chelsea twice, didn't they, in 1 year in both finals? Mind you, that could have been more recent.
I think that was more recent, but I just think we need to get back to being a. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with this. Absolutely, get over there. By the way, vote for Danny for most underrated YouTuber, Danny. Please get over there and subscribe to the Spurs Kings TV and do your voting. And they better give me a big prize if I win something. I've got no doubt they won't. They left me out of about 15 categories. Don't worry about it, Marlon. Don't worry about it, Marlon.
Sav, not that you're bitter.
No, mate. Listen. I'm more worried. I'm more worried about Spurs at the moment than winning online awards. I just want to see that we start moving in a transfer window. Last thing I want to talk about before we go. I've got a feeling we're probably going to wait until Paratici's back. So I think we're going to see. I think we'll probably see a couple of weeks of barrenness. Is that a word? Barrenness? Barren behaviour?
It'll be quiet, won't it? We'll have a quiet couple of weeks. Paratici's ban finishes on the 29th of June.
Yeah, so what's that next?
16th. So 2 weeks today, hopefully he'll be walking back into Spurs. It'll be announced. Fabio's rejoined us at the end of his ban. And here we go.
Yeah, I don't personally think he ever left the club. Officially, yeah. But I personally think he still had something to do with the club and certain things in the background as such. I mean, to do the job he does, you haven't necessarily got to be officially employed by the club. You can still be the one making the phone calls, doing this, doing that, and then just passing off the information to the official person that does the job as such. I still reckon he had a part of Tottenham why he wasn't legit working there as such. And whether he got a bit of cash in his back pocket or not, who knows? But I don't think he ever really left the club 100%. I still think he had something to do with a few things that happened. And the fact that he doesn't officially start until, July 1st or whatever it is, I still think he's the sort of person that's more than qualified enough and got enough knowledge of it to already be having things going in the process. We all know a lot goes on behind the lines, especially at Spurs and a lot with other clubs. The problem we always seem to have is that a lot of the time it doesn't seem like we're doing that and we leave it to the last bloody minute. I don't think he's quite that sort of person, but again, at Tottenham, we do always like to have a look at the last minute as well. And as long as we've made the main buyers we need, or at least say 70% of them in the transfer window, I've got no problem with coming out and having a look on shopping day, basically, if they're on the sales day, if there's a couple of sneaky little buys you can get out of it. But just purely relying on that as what has done us damage year after year after year with the way Levy works and the people who he employs works. So as long as we get 70% of our transfers done before the last, say, 3 days of the transfer window, okay, I can understand leaving it for a bit of hit and hope for the last day of the transfer window as well for another player. But we don't seem to exactly get we don't seem to usually get it right in that aspect. I think we rely a lot too much on a hit and hope at the end of the transfer window too much. This is where we got to get our priorities right and get the majority done before that. And then if you see a good deal at the end of it in the shopping centre, of course you snap it up straight away. But we can't rely on that.
Yeah. Yeah, look, guys, I do want to leave it there unless anyone's got anything burning to say. Just quickly, I will say that a user, thank you very much, has said, will Crystal Palace still demand 60 million up front for Eze? Does anyone know, is this true? I've heard so many stories about Eze that, yeah, I don't know why this would be true.
Why would his agents allow that to be put in?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because he would know he's scuppering any move.
Sure. I don't believe it for a sec. I believe that there's a release clause of 60 million or whatever it is. I've heard 60, I've heard 68 million. Yeah, something, yeah. But these things are paid up. You know, it could be 2 years like Declan Rice was with Arsenal and West Ham, or it could be a 5-year job. I think, like most transfers are. But I can't see it being 60 plus 8.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, our users just asking the question. I mean, we heard a lot about this last year. I truly believe if you want an Eze, you can get him out of there. I truly believe that Spurs should be going for that. Maybe we will. Mm-hmm. It's the 16th of June. Transfer window opens today. 77 days to go for anyone that's interested. 77 days of the window. In that time, many things will have happened. Lubo will be 3 months older. Danny will have had a lot more sleep. We would have had the fhtv barbecue. We would have played Bromley in a friendly on a Tuesday night. I'm guessing it's going to be a Spurs 11. I can't imagine the first team will be playing that early on in pre-season.
Yeah. And I'd have had a wonderful trip to Italy for the Super Cup. Can't wait.
He would have had a trip to Italy. There we go. So I think there's a lot to happen. We'll see. I know what we're like. We all want to go into meltdown, and yeah, we can be unhappy with signings and stuff, but let's see. This is the window where surely if Levy doesn't buy some bigger players, there's no way back, right? There's no way back, because we hear it every year. This is the window. This is the window. This is Champions League. We've just won a trophy. We've got to move on from that. Big up to our user. By the way, guys and girls, I'll be back at 5 p.m. today for a fan call-in show, 5 until 7. And then at 7:45, we're going to be doing a live watch-along for Chelsea versus Los Angeles FC. So if anyone keeps an eye on, our old captain is the goalkeeper for Los Angeles FC. So you've got Lloris. They've got players up front like Olivier Giroud. They've got a few other ex-Premier League players. And then tomorrow, morning show, followed by Savva and Lubo Ask Us Anything, will be at 5 p.m. And then Wednesday, we've got 2 Club Cup games. We've got Man City versus Wydad, and then we've got somebody versus somebody else as well. So Real Madrid versus Al Hilal. So listen, lots of football coming up. Take care. Dan, Lubo, thank you very much. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, no. Listen, keep up the good work, and next year you'll be in for the GOAT with Spurs Kings. You'll be up there, mate.
Oh, what a tosser Marlon is, eh? What a tosser that Marlon is. Can't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Unbelievable. On a serious note, please get over and subscribe to the Spurs Kings TV. Please subscribe to Hotspur Hood. Subscribe to all the Spurs channels. Always say it. Please subscribe to all the Spurs channels. Take care. Much love. And as always, come on.
Spurs.